Okay, so like definitely another clear impression right now, Blackbeard right now about to take Antwerp's life and steal her and ever so and really hand off right now, telling Blackbeard how Chilita is the better case of the Black Pro members won't be coming on like that would be like an absolute lie of like a tragedy by Antwerp to ensure that Blackbeard doesn't take Antwerp's life and doesn't steal away her soul. So that's definitely one of the things. And actually my impression that like in actually take the situation will be like it's like Blackbeard right now take hands off like then numbers like automatically the better version of Blackbeard pro members might be coming under especially my preference. That might be like the reality of the situation which like hands off might be right now lying about through up dialogues right now to ensure that Blackbeard doesn't take her life as well as it's not able to like speak herself so to ensure that right now getting a certain and right now with like Koby right there self like I'm in the middle of things. Like I'm looking right now, the scenario that I'm looking is for like Kobe right now, like attacking Blackbeard is like the scenario that I'm looking at. Blackbeard will be Kobe not even though Kobe is like right there in front of Blackbeard like I'm looking at Blackbeard won't be like at all expecting Kobe an attack from Kobe. Like Blackbeard will be only assuming that like Kobe is like only fearful of Blackbeard and everything. So like I'm looking an attack from Kobe, which will be like a powerful attack. Kobe will be like right now extremely powerful. So like I'm looking at a powerful attack, hardly powered attack from Kobe on Blackbeard right now. It's like the scenario that I'm looking at. So that attack like Blackbeard, that attack resulting in like Blackbeard, left everything low of that hands off like the scenario that I'm looking at. That way like Kobe, and at that point it's well I'm looking like when hands off will be getting free like straight away. I'm looking like hands off straight away running towards like so first two statues of Blackbeard's crew members and I'm looking like straight away Hancock picking up one of Blackbeard's crew members statue and that Hancock threatening Blackbeard to like destroy that statue if Blackbeard doesn't view right now. Like the scenario that I'm looking and Hancock also shouting out to Kobe as well that he with Kobe as well doesn't be Hancock would be like destroying that all those great number of the women of Kobe as well, that Kobe has brought as well. And of destroying that, and of that, they're threatening both Blackbeard as well as Kobe at that point, like the scenario that I'm doing. So, like at that point, that both Blackbeard, not only Kobe, but also Blackbeard as well, would be only shocked. Because, like, I'm looking at Blackbeard, it would be like, I'm looking like, Blackbeard would be only seeing his main pro members, that those pro members that Blackbeard had freed from all the way back from Impel Down, Blackbeard will be right now in the capability seeing them as his absolute strength absolute strength and support that Kobe back Blackbeard up in all of his goals and mission. So I'm saying each one of them would be only extremely valuable for Blackbeard. So I'm looking Blackbeard would be right now with the mindset of not being able to afford having not even a single one of some of us getting ending up dying by the hands of Jack and so like the scenario that and he won't be able to afford to lose not even a single member of his member, especially when the frame rate. So definitely so my three impression right now is definitely for at that point I'm looking we're totally uh, being so extremely enraged and being frustrated at that point. And I'm also thinking at that point, I'm also thinking those two Seraphim, the sister Seraphim, those two Seraphim straight away at that point, straight away from two directions and them straight away, charging towards Blackbeard to attack Blackbeard at that point, the scenario that I'm looking. And at that point, itself, I'm also thinking Kobe, basically all of them with an extremely serious face and when Kobe straight away shouting at the serpents to really stop. Kobe straight away shouting the order to stop to those two serpents and on that spot or at that moment itself and those two serpents basically stopping on the dot at that point is like scenario that I'm looking and then Kobe straight away leaving telling Hancock that he'll be leaving right now and usually Kobe straight away leaving with the Navy men is the scenario that I'm looking at Kobe might be having some sort of a power and I'm definitely Hancock not undoing the petrification of the Navy men and even though Kobe at that point would be resisting Hancock to to the petrification of those Navy men and that Kobe will be telling about the Kobe at that point telling Hancock that he will speak his word I think it's greatly new. But I'm looking Hancock won't be believing Kobe at all and Hancock totally threatening to destroy the statues, the petrified statues of those Navy men if Kobe doesn't leave at that point. With along the lines of this threat that and probably make into like both Koby as well as Blackbeard. So like I'm looking at Koby like using some sort of like a tactic or something like I'm looking at Koby without breaking like any of like the better players better players stages of like the great number of players and that Koby is totally transporting all of them back to like the Navy vessel and basically Koby taking them out and Koby and the Navy vessel leaving like the island of that for and like the scenario that I'm doing. And Blackbeard as well, but like Blackbeard gets in the posted and like still I'm looking Blackbeard totally leaving but like one of his like crew members like the statue, but like the other would be still with hands off. It's like the scenario that I'm putting as hands off is threatening to like destroy it. It's like the only is like the right then it's the scenario that I'm looking at. That way like Kobe and Blackbeard like leaving the island of like what is the like scenario that I'm looking at and my personal impression. So like I'm looking like and in the person like I'm possible definitely like with that kind of like totally confused as to like what to do like again for like expecting the possibility of that both of like would be like expecting the possibility of not like Kobe but like the Blackbeard as well making their results for Hancock. Like the scenario is definitely what Hancock would be totally uh, expecting definitely with them. So like I'm looking like Hancock is usually coming to like the conversation of like an idea because like for Hancock definitely like because like the minimum temperatures that for Hancock like have Highland like have people and all of them will be like so friendly pressure to Hancock. So like I'm looking like to save to ensure like the perfection of like the island and like the people in it like I'm looking like Hancock totally come to usually come to like the conclusion to like basically and I'm looking maybe it will be doing then that like I'm looking like one of like the yeah, birds would be like worrying like the newspaper and like the newspaper might contain like the news about like the cross build of like buggy like the scenario that I'm looking or like handbook that's like one possibility of like handbook would have already be by now aware of like buggies like cross build like the scenario that I'm that way like handbook finally come to like the conclusion at that point or like basically before either Kobe, whether it's like Kobe or Blackbeard or both of them, before them returning for Hancock to like only escape from that island, from her home island and go up to like Buggy and like join Buggy's like Roskid. So that like the Roskid like Hancock will only having that confidence that basically the Roskid of Buggy that can just have like crocodile as well as like Nemo, like they will only able to do that and as well like a huge army of people like anticipating that and Hancock will only feeling that basically Hancock will be safe in if Hancock joins that CrossFit like buggy to get on the lines like Hancock will get only feeling and so like that way Hancock takes that decision to like leave her home island to like the scenario that they like Hancock saying goodbye to all the people in that the home island and Hancock leaving and like without necessarily Hancock like joining like the CrossFit of buggy is like the scenario that I'm looking and straight away like the moment like I'm looking and Buddha will be seeing Santos itself like I'm looking like Alberta will be like straight away feeling that absolute dislike towards like Hancock because like Alberta will be threatened by Hancock's beauty and I'm looking Hancock as well feeling kind of threatened by Alberta's beauty as well. It's like the scenario that I'm looking so like I'm strictly remember to them for like a Sanji Zoro like chemistry usually building up and happening between like Hancock and Alberta is like given with the now that I'm looking for the impression. Yes, and definitely the Muslim impression right now as for like really as well as Shakur right now being present in like Amazon Billy and like Shakur being like the former pirate and present like the captain of like former captain to the pirates like definitely the Muslim impression right now is that really Shakur but even in like the present time like Shakur will be like even stronger than Hancock is definitely one of the drivers. So like that's my Muslim impression. But like definitely in like the past when like Hancock was like as Hancock and like the other like Hancock and her sisters and all of them were like imprisoned by like the Ryan rating like basically in like recent past like back when like Hancock was young like they during the number of like it might have been Shaki that might have been Shaku that might have been like the captain of like the Georgia Pirates. So it's definitely my good impression. So like I'm like it might have been especially when like Shaku was like the captain of like the Georgia Pirates that like the Princess Dragon might have so they captured them the Navy, according to like Silver line of orders, like the Navy might have like only captured and imprisoned them, and then all might have became like prisoners of like the Silver Dragon. Might have all happened back then. It's the new permission, and since it has already been revealed that this is really was like the one to like save and free all of them in like the Western part. Like I'm looking like back then when Rayleigh had saved all of them. Like I'm looking like uh, Shaki might have refused to like return back to like Amazon Lily because like during that whole process while like Rayleigh was like saving all of them like I'm that way like Rayleigh's like boldness might have won over like Shaku's up and under different like Shaku might have after that after Bailey rescued all of them, like Bohan Brook and all the others, like including Shaku as well, might have been in present back then, but like after like Riley had saved them, like Shaku might have totally fallen for Riley and like Shaku and might have decided to like while Hancock and like the others might have returned left to like Amazon Lily, like Shaku might have decided to like go along with like Riley might have seen what might have happened and they might have I think like they have gotten married or like unfortunately I think that they are like married, like Shaku and really are married. So like they might have gotten married back then. It's definitely what might have happened is definitely not the famous and but like since like Shaku might have been like the captain of like Sakuja Pirates even back then. And so like even back then like Shaku might have been a whole lot stronger than Hancock. And on top of that, like since like Shaku might have only married Aurelia and might have been spending a lot of time with like really like since the numbers were like really might have trained Shaku a lot. After like spending time together, like really might have trained Shaku a lot. So like I'm thinking the person like Shaku might be even stronger than and definitely might be very solely due to like all that training after that's really good argument that would definitely very ambitious. So like the three my very impression right now is basically in like the present like right now that really and start to being present in like Amazon media right now. Which is only due to like basically definitely since like Shaku like the former captain of like the Kuja virus like definitely like there might have been definitely that concern within that Shaku the moment Shaku might have got like might have seen like the news from like the newspaper about like the abolition of like the warlord system and like straight away like I was looking at that point so like Shaku might have straight away realized that basically like the navy will be like hunting down like the warlords like one after another and since like Hancock is like one of like, the current warlords like definitely Shaku like definitely Shaku might have definitely had that genuine concern for like not just Hancock but like for like the entire plans on Lily because like Shaku might not only Shaku might it might be obvious for Shaku that definitely like Hancock won't be like letting herself captured or like without putting a fight so like actually that resulting in like that putting like the entire plan of Lily in danger and all that like might have been something that like might have been obvious for like a possibility for like along the lines that might have been how it felt for Shaku so like and the Shaku straight away might have at that point, itself, like when Shaku might have gotten like the news itself, like Shaku along with like really might have set off from Sabodi straight away at that point itself, and might have like been able to like and I was for instance like really have all this like unique powers which like really have been revealed to be able to like even swing through like the calm bend and everything like and everything like so like they might have totally been able to like so quickly been able to like somehow using like a release powers and like using the powers that really might have even chat as well might have in like the person through release training of chat it's also like so through such a manner like using their unique power like they might have been able to make it to like Amazon really so quickly it's definitely what might have happened it's definitely very okay, so like definitely my Victoria question as for like the what like that scenario might have been while that really as well as Shaki might have made it to like Amazon really might have been like the whole situation where like Blackbeard had basically was like about to take Hancock's life and basically in front of like Koby. It's definitely my brain. Might be during that time that like definitely like Shaki as well as like really might have ended made it to like Amazon really definitely not very much. So like at that point, I was the scenario might have been like Blackbeard just before like really instantly had arrived like I was saying. The scenario might have been like Blackbeard, but totally like totally possibly being might have straight away gotten convinced by like Hancock. Like which might have actually been Hancock's life. That is, if like Blackbeard takes Hancock's life, like in actuality, that situation might have been like if Hancock's life, like the situation might automatically come undone of like might have been like the actual proof of which is like a positive that I'm looking hands off might have totally lied to like basically that way it might have been like strategy that hands off might have used to like basically attempt to like basically save herself as well as like prevent her level proof from getting stolen. It's definitely my good impression. So that my good impression is that like that attempt of that Hancock might have actually succeeded, and Blackbeard might have straight away at that point might have gotten convinced straight away by that lie of Hancock might have been what might have happened. So like I'm looking at that point, what Blackbeard might have threatened Hancock with might have been to like basically undo like the petrification of Blackbeard crew members, or like Blackbeard would take Hancock's life at that point. That might have been along the lines like of a threat that Blackbeard might have made to like Hancock. So like I'm referring like along with that threat, Blackbeard might have also Blackbeard might have also made told Hancock that basically made another threat to like Hancock that basically Hancock has to like undo like the personification of like Blackbeard crew members right then itself, and like after doing that like Hancock would have to like join like the Blackbeard pirates as like one of his like crew members might be along the line, or like if Hancock doesn't do all that, Blackbeard might have trust Hancock that like he will destroy like the entire sea of like Amazon. He might have been along the lines of like an absolute threat that Blackbeard might have at that point made towards like Hancock is definitely not the 300. So at that point, I'm looking like Hancock might have been like might have totally felt like basically she have thoroughly been defeated, and like Hancock might have been like actually uh, might have been like ended up in a submissive manner, might have been like ended up into in a submissive kind of like a situation where like Hancock might have decided to like give up her struggle, and might have decided to like at that point might have been thinking of like might have been about to like basically undo the specification of like the exchange of electricity and do the petrification of like Blackfish crew members, and like join to be a person of like a crew member in like Blackbeard pirate crew. Might be along the lines of like a mindset in which like Hancock might have eventually came down to but like it might be at that very moment that Amazon like really as well as like Shaggy might have made their entrance into like Amazon media, and like straight away like and my very impressions were like the moments that we had basically alone that really had might have straight away seen at that point have seen like really Blackbeard trying to what appeared as to that might have appeared to that them as if like Blackbeard was about to take hands of life. So like I'm looking like at that point like somebody like might have been definitely exactly that might have charged ahead of Aurelia, and basically might have straight away tried to like attack Blackbeard and save Hancock. But like I was with that attack of that attack of like an attempt by Shark Chambers Supreme like uh, might have been countered by Blackbeard with just one of Blackbeard might have been what might have happened. But definitely when the perimeter. So like that way Sharky might have probably gotten into trouble. But like I'm wondering that might have been precisely when really stepped in and basically with like one single attack like I'm wondering really causing Blackbeard to take a certain level of damage, and that will like instantly both Hancock as well as Shanty might have totally gotten free from Blackbeard might have been what might have happened if the member three. So right then itself like the Seraphim might have straight away like shot towards Blackbeard at the same time to shoot their ultimate beam and when Seraphim might have charged both the Seraphim from both the left and the right direction might have charged toward Blackbeard with them about to attack with some highly powered beam or something. It's, might have been like the scenario at that point is the might have the reaction. So my dream questions are at that point Koby might have once again told the sergeants to stop, but I'm looking still I'm looking still even at that point I'm looking the sergeant might have not listened to Koby, and I'm looking the sergeant might have straight away charged towards Blackbeard as well as towards Blackbeard and I'm looking while Blackbeard and really might have been fighting with the scenario that I'm looking. So since the sergeant might have been charging towards both the sergeant might have been charging towards and trying to attack both Blackbeard as well as Rayleigh at that point is might have been the situation that point is scenario that I'm looking. So straight away I'm looking Kobe might have tried to stop one of the serpent, while Shaki might have tried to stop the other serpent might be what might have happened is technically on the Remison. So while this might have been going on, I'm looking the Blackbeard versus a Rayleigh fight might have been going on along with that as well as the scenario that I'm looking, and I'm looking Rayleigh might have initially might have put up a great fight, but I'm looking might have been definitely a short fight, but I'm looking initially it's I'm looking Rayleigh might have done some damage, like a certain extent of like a small damage towards like Blackbeard, but straight away it felt like Blackbeard and was using like the tremor fruit power of Whitebeard as well as like fruit might have straight away overpowered really like the scenario that I was saying, and I was like it might have been like, and I was like against like the Seraphim like I was like Shakti might have been seriously struggling as also the minimum with temperature. So like and I'm wondering like maybe Kobe as well might have been struggling at that point against like the other thing. It's also like about that I'm wondering. So because like the emphasis that in both in like Kobe as well as like Shaki's case, like at that point it might have been that the on top of like the referencing was pretty strong. Like even on top of that, like I'm doing both Shaki as well as like Kobe as well. When while Kobe knows that basically the serpents are like a robotic robot kind of like Android kind of thing like first discussed yet like I'm things like the serpents have like the appearance of like children like I'm like neither like Kobe nor like nor Shakir might have been able to like bring themselves to that to uh, to actually attack like any of the serpents definitely when with payment. So like I'm they might have tried to struggle to like totally stop like the serpents so the serpents might have been what might have happened while like the whole Blackbeard versus that really fight might have been going on, might have been what might have happened with the friends and like I'm looking like Blackbeard might have partly overpowered really, and like I'm looking like Blackbeard really might have ended up in like a tough spot where like really might have been about to like be like seriously like might have been about to die by the hands of Blackbeard at that point. Might have been a scenario that I'm saying like I'm looking like maybe like Blackbeard might have like weakened really and like I'm looking like with like that from a throat attack like I'm looking like Blackbeard might have been about to like punch and easily take the life of a lady. But like I was right before like Blackbeard was like about to land that punch like I was doing that handcuff might have shouted out to the towards like Blackbeard while like holding on to like one of like the petrified statue of like Blackbeard's crew members at that point with like the scenario that I was doing. That might have been what like stopped Blackbeard at that point might have been what might have happened, especially when I was failing. So like handcuff might have at that point threatened Blackbeard to like basically destroy like the petrified status like the petrified statue of this like crew members at that point and what might have threatened Blackbeard. So such a man might have been what might have happened. So like that way like I'm assuming that might have been what might have stopped Blackbeard. And I'm also like by then I'm also like the like for the circum as well like I'm also like might have still like bypass both like might have at that point bypass both Kobe as well as like Shatu as well and might have been sharpening towards like Blackbeard and Ravy at that point might have been like the scenario and at that point I'm also like so it might have been Kobe like with like totally serious totally different serious Kobe at that point this is like I'm also like shouting out while like bring out his like hockey powers like I'm within Kobe using his like hockey powers like I'm within shouting out to and giving the orders to like both the seraphims to like stop and giving the order to both the seraphim to like stop while like not just shouting it out but like shouting out while using his like hockey behind that house it's like the scenario that I'm looking at. So like at that point still found the point like both the seraphim like literally stopping on the spot at that point and listening to like all these orders like the scenario that I'm looking at. And that way like I'm looking like Blackbeard as well as like Kobe might have left like the Amazon Lily Island at that point. Definitely what might have happened. Certainly on the premise. Still I'm also trying like one of like the petrified statue of like Blackbeard crew members like among like the two crew members of like Blackbeard that had showed up to like Amazon Lily and I was like Blackbeard like one of their petrified statue would be right now still be present in like Amazon Lily and it might have been through with that with the threat of like destroying that statue that like that Lee Hancock might have managed to like send Blackbeard away from Amazon really for the time being. Might have been what might have happened. It's definitely one of the cameras. So there's like in my history impressions where like since like to get to like Amazon Lily like basically crossing like the like just like word and basically since like the Navy vessel have like the sea person stones attached to like the bottom soldiers like once get like for Blackbeard right now in like the person being able to like make it to like Amazon Lily in Blackbeard ship like I'm something like that might be due to like I'm something like Blackbeard might have stolen first of all might have like the majority of like the Navy vessels might have three persons don't attach to like their bot due to like the design or like technology that like Vegapunk might have designed and gave it to like the remaining mechanic remaining frame version. So like so the remaining frame version is that like as to like how Blackbeard in like the present might have been able to like make it to cross like the Campbell using his like fire ship and make it to like Amazon clearly like I'm wondering how that might have been possible for Blackbeard and those different like Blackbeard might be the someone who that thinks ahead a lot and plans ahead a lot. The minimum with the gamble. So like I remember like it might have been all the way back when like Blackbeard had created his like create like all those like personas from like Impel Down and basically to create his like ultimate pirate crew like basically even at that point after like the moment that when Blackbeard has escaped from Impel Down like still like I'm like there was like there was like I think like maybe ship like parked outside like in town like at that point I was when it might be all the way back then that like I was like at that point from um might have stolen like a sea person stone that might have been tied on to like one of those navy vessels parked outside of like Town. Parked in front of Town might have been like even back then like back then might have stolen one of that sea person stones from like the bottom tied to like the bottom of like attached to like the bottom of like one of the living might have been what might have happened certainly my rebels and definitely like so definitely my rebels was like exactly like Vegapunk and exactly like how Frankie like is in as like a crew member as like a this mechanic in like straw hat mechanic pirate crew member in like straw hat pirates and the different like any credit um crew member would be definitely present in like the crew members of like I'm like the crew members of like Blackbeard Pirate Crew like and there would be that one crew member who would be like a mechanic as well and would be like the price and so it would be solely due to that crew member that I'm like Blackbeard might have been able to like basically attach that like sea prism stone like which might be a huge sea prism stone which like Blackbeard might have stolen way back from like in down like Blackbeard might have attached it to his like uh through the bottom of his like pirate ship through that single through like the skills of like that single mechanic pirate crew members of like Blackbeard's crew. So definitely what might happen is definitely my training. This might be the precise and sole reason for like Blackbeard right now in the present being able like so easily be able to like cross like the Campbells and show up to make it to like Amazon really definitely my person jury and production right now. So like one of the references that like maybe it might be through such a manner that like Blackbeard might have on the like ship might have crossed like the Campbell and made it to like Amazon really or like the only other possibility that I'm starting is for like it might be through like the power of like Blackbeard to like from a through uh like using that like Blackbeard might have created like tsunamis and basically in the Campbell and basically that might be how like Blackbeard might have been able to like move just like ship and navigate his ship through like the Campbell vents that they move to have a ship move through like the Campbell vents be able to like make it to Amazon Lily. It's like the other possibility that I'm doing. So like I'm doing like definitely like according to like the directions of like the navigator crew member, which will be definitely presented like this through like I'm doing like according to that order like I'm doing that navigator crew member might have told like the exact area in like the campaign where like Blackbeard should like uses like from a to attack to create like the puppet tsunamis to like launch their ship in that exact direction that they would have to like proceed ahead through like the campaign so as for them to be able to like exactly make it towards like Amazon Lily might have been what might have happened is like the other possibilities that I'm able to predict and my brain also, my consider questions for like maybe of like the possibility of like Shaku not only being like the former captain of like the Tuja Pirates, but like Shaku also possibly being like the actual mother of Hancock is also like a possibility that end up with all the plan of French. Okay, so like the cinema the impression right now is like really right now telling the world Hancock that he's old and basically he can't defeat like the current Blackbeard. Like the flame is right now it will be like that's a great idea to bring to the really himself that to bring the things like telling Hancock to basically to join to leave Amazon Lily and join like the crossfield of Buggy and there like Hancock would be safe. If like the like whole idea like I'm that it would be like really that would be most likely today. handcuff right now government created a black scenario that I'm looking at the okay, so like the thing of the impression is that when like basically Blackbeard was like about to take the hand of life, like basically at that point it's like exactly right there on the background there's like this like huge picture of like basically Luffy in like Amazon Lily. Like I'm definitely Blackbeard before leaving definitely will be noticing that huge picture of like Luffy being present in like Amazon Lily. A place where there are only women. So like I'm looking definitely before leaving like I'm looking like they're noticing that it's a huge picture of like Lucy and I'm looking like they're asking Hancock as to why Lucy's picture is present there and I'm looking like a Hancock like at that point with that absolute pride like Hancock talking back to like that like Lucy is like the person that like Hancock would will one day marry would be along the lines of like with that confidence like I'm feeling like Hancock telling Blackbeard at that point is like the scenario that I'm moving. And but like Hancock, while Hancock would be saying the style of like Blackbeard and because like Koby would be standing right there and would be present. And like that would be a job for Koby as well as like the scenario that I'm looking for. And I was looking like Blackbeard, like I'm looking like Blackbeard would be like leaving like would have like after that like I'm looking with the whole eventual blackmailing of like it would be not so so either it would be like it might have been Hancock or like I'm looking like after like Blackbeard would have against Hancock it might have been like due to like a really interference in that right like maybe that way like it might be either Hancock that might have threatened to take to destroy like the statue of Blackbeard like so members of like Amazon, it might be like a rating that might also return like this to like destroy like the statue of like the first statue of one of the crew members is like there doesn't like these that Amazon really might have been one of these two scenarios that might happen. But like regardless of the time by the time Blackbeard like the like I'm looking like this information that basically that Luffy is like so extremely precious to like hands of like Amber like that Amber Spring is like we're totally eventually taking advantage of in like the distances of like the scenario that I'm looking and totally trying to like and totally using that against Luffy to like really bring down Luffy's like even though right now in like the person like Blackbeard would be absolutely would be of like the mindset of like an absolute confidence that basically or confidence and like right now in like Blackbeard's mindset would be that like currently Blackbeard would be in like a one fight against like Luffy Blackbeard would be easily able to like crush like the Emperor of Blackbeard would be easily able to like or and defeat and crush and destroy like the Emperor of Luffy would be along the lines of like an overconfident kind of like a mindset like early in the person like Blackbeard would be having. But like I'm looking like eventually I'm looking like Luffy reaching higher and higher levels of strength even in like going beyond his like year five powers like the scenario that I'm looking and at that point I'm looking like potentially like the distant future like I'm looking like definitely in possible fight scenario in like the very distant future I'm looking like Blackbeard totally ending up being desperate and I'm looking like in order to like bring the fear down like I'm looking like Blackbeard possibly pulling off like the of like pulling off the chief trick of like basically taking hands off like a hostage by the Amberstring maybe during that fight like Amberstring maybe Hancock might be nearby. It's also like a possibility that Amberstring like will think this. So like I'm putting at that point like I'm putting like we're like totally using that information that like Hancock is like totally purchased to find Lucy purchase like so like we also assuming that like for Lucy as well Hancock as well is it only so like I'm looking that way Blackbeard like in the distant future like taking Hancock like a hostage and like going to the desperate extent of like taking Hancock like a hostage and threatening Luffy to like take with like him taking Hancock like with like Luffy and that way like threatening Luffy and that way pulling off such achieve tricks to like basically fight and defeat and take the life of like Luffy and steal Luffy's time fruit is also like a in eventual distant future possibility that I'm also preparing for like of like a cheap trick kind of like a scenario that I'm also bring back where totally pulling off like the distant future is like my interest. Okay, so like the main one question to the question of for like that they're thanking Koby for like basically the RockyPort incident basically the fact that like that they was able only able to like take down this like mysterious cat for Wang-Zhi solely due to like Koby like I'm thinking so actually like since like the since like I think like basically Blackbeard had became like the ruler of like the pirate island after like the whole incident of like Martha the war and Marineford and everything since like during that time like basically Blackbeard during like the war in Marineford itself, like Blackbeard had basically gotten like both like Whitebeard power as well, the Runner power as well as like Starcraft. So since like even back then like Whitebeard had two exceptionally powerful powers as well as like during like the time of like the War in Marineford, like Whitebeard also had like basically freed like the personal from like Impel Down and had created his crew members as well. The Blackbeard pirate, the new Blackbeard pirate crew members as well, like from Blackbeard crew members as well. And even after all that, like the fact that like, and I think like basically like Blackbeard became like the role of like the pirate island after like the entirety of like the Marineford incident, just to live in the frame. So like since like back then like Blackbeard has was like so exceptionally strong already, and so it's like Blackbeard right now is like basically thanking Koby for like basically making it possible for like Blackbeard to be able to like defeat Wang-Zhi. Like certainly when Lutheran mentions that this mysterious character Wang-Zhi would be an exceptionally strong pirate, especially in the Lutheran version. So and my Lutheran versions that like Wang-Zhi might not just be like just a random pirate, but like I'm the Wang-Zhi would be like actually rocks in the sky. It's definitely one of the creators. These are rock pirates. Like I really my Lutheran versions that like the reason for like the rock pirates getting disbanded and getting separated in like the western parts might have been only due to like the captain of like due to like some wrongdoing by like the captain himself of like the Rock Spire, like the Rock leaves the but definitely might have three emergence. So like I'm looking like Rocks might have done some sort of like a betrayal kind of thing, and that might have resulted in like the Rock Spire like losing their trust on their captain, and that way straight away ended up going their separate ways. Might have been what might have happened if the three emergence. Like I'm looking like even after that, like I'm looking like Rocks might have decided to like basically after that like Rocks might have Rob's might have only felt strong while he was like he had this like crew members like basically Whitebeard as well as like Big Mom as well as like Kaido became definitely one of the three but like I'm looking like with them going the separate ways like I'm looking like maybe like Rob's might have not felt that safe and I'm looking like Rob's might have decided to like basically uh, take on the disguise of and change his name to like Wang-Chi and Amber Blackrock might have totally done a makeover and basically might have disguised himself like as like a totally different person. And in an unrecognizable manner like Rock might have put on like such an absolute disguise and might have been living on the and Amber Black Rocks might have seen like the pirate island of like I think like Pullali is like Amazon like it's called like I think like Bath Island like so like the Bath Island of Pullali and Amazon like would be might have been like such uh like that island might have been a symbol of like absolute pride for like rocks that basically rocks might have not been able to like let go of like Pullali. So like Amazon this might have been like a strategy that like rocks might have came up with to also that to like avoid like the future possibility of like Kaido or like Whitebeard or like Big Mom coming after him to like get revenge to also avoid this as well as to like also be able to like not do like just like Pirate Island of Pullalian like he might have only Ross might have only put on like ultimate disguise and in an unrecognizable extent of like an ultimate disguise and even might have changed his name to Wang-Zhi might have been what might have happened and like and was going like that way like Ross might have returned back straight away after his like betrayal and after like the separation splitting up of like the Ross like I'm going like Ross might have secretly uh went into hiding and might have like put on the disguise and might have changed his name to like Wang-Chi and might have straight away run back to like the pirate island of Pullanet and like since that even since then like Rock might have been continuing on ruling like pirate island of Pullanet at least what might have happened especially my birthday temperature. So my birthday impression is that Wang-Chi would actually be a Rock himself in disguise, certainly one of the image. And this might be the reason for like Blackbeard, like even after like the whole incident of like the war in Marineford, even after the war in Marineford, like this, even while Blackbeard had his like two level 4 powers, two powerful level 4 powers, as well as like Blackbeard having his like those strong crew members that he had made his like turned into like crew members after freeing them from single down, like even after all this like Blackbeard. Uh, struggling against this like mysterious gas of Wang-Chi will be solely due to like I'm going to bring that might be solely due to like Wang-Chi like actual co hidden keeping Fox is definitely my favorite. So like I'm saying like as for like how Kobe might have helped for like Kobe might have been given like the task by the Navy to like capture like this like pirate by like the name Wang-Zhi, who's like ruling over like the pirate island of Fullerhead. And I'm sure like even the Navy like might have had like absolutely no idea at all. I'm wondering that Sengoku might have had like the might know that basically but from like Sengoku I don't might be like knowing that like Wang-Zhi is actually cut off in the sky with the minimum for instance. So like I'm wondering like it might be like a confidential information with people within like the Navy that like I'm wondering like that information might have not also spread of the name of the information. So like I'm wondering maybe like due to like some reason like I'm wondering like uh some reason like I'm looking like it might be maybe according to that the orders of the higher ups to that basically maybe that the elders might have wanted like a meeting look like exactly like I think the past like times have basically casually showed up to like the to Marijo and met the elders like I'm looking like maybe it might have connected to like maybe like that way like maybe like a task might have been given to like the Navy to like bring this like capture like pirate like Vancy uh, from like the pirate island of Fullerhead. Uh, it's definitely my preference. So like maybe it might have been part of that task that I'm looking like Kobe might have that and I'm looking like it might have been like after like the war in Marineford like Kobe's strength might have like safety increased to like his level so definitely my preference. So maybe after that like while Kobe might have been gaining a lot of attention within like the Navy for his like exceptional performance in like the Navy and strength and skills and everything only due to like gap training might have been like the reason. So like I'm wondering due to this reason like I'm wondering like Kobe might have been assigned with like the mission with like I'm wondering like there might have been a great number of Navy battleships or like there might have been a few battleships of like the Navy and like great number of Navy soldiers and Kobe as well as like a bunch of boys and girls that might have showed up to like the island of Fullerhead to like capture like Wang-Zhi might have been like situation back then. Might have been what might have happened back then. So even the business might be like the precise exact time where like Amazon like coincidentally like Blackbeard as well might have been planning on Blackbeard might have known that basically like some mysterious pirate by the name Wang-Zhi is like the current ruler of like the pirate and for Blackbeard it might be like the like there might be like the this like what Blackbeard like the Blackbeard might have only looked up to like the rock pirate as like like Blackbeard might have seen like the rock pirate as like a great inspiration might be along the lines like like for Blackbeard like like hearing like the stories of like the rock pirate from childhood like might have only inspired Blackbeard a lot of the name of the famous so like like since like the pirate island of Polar Lake used to be like the base of like sort of pirate like back there might have been the threat to like have this like base on the exact island of Polar Lake. So like I'm looking since like uh so like Blackbeard might have figured that basically this blank tree is like the current role of like the pirate island of Polar Lake. So like I'm looking like as like it might have been solely to like Blackbeard like I'm looking like uh, coincidentally precisely as like Blackbeard might have been trying to like take over like the island of Fulale like and might have been struggling and losing against like Wang-Zhi who might have been actually like a rock which like neither Blackbeard nor the others might have even known of it. So like Blackbeard might have been the big job back then like Blackbeard might have had that episode of confidence because like of Blackbeard having like the two level power as well as like having like a new a great number of new crew members from Tumble Down and everything like White and Blackbeard might have only like try to like invade like the first time the full like end of that episode for contract but like another thing like Banksy like basically like since like I'm looking like Banksy would be about like he might have unleashed like his pro powers and I'm looking like at that point like I'm looking like Blackbeard and as well as Blackbeard players who might have been struggling against like Wang-Chi's like exceptional power. Like what might have happened is the president. This might be the precise point where like coincidentally Kobe as well might have been trying to like capture Wang-Chi. So like I'm looking like Kobe as well as well, like Navy men as well, like all of them as well. At the same time might have even attack like Wang-Chi at the same time might have been what might have happened is definitely remember the so like that way like I'm looking like Wang-Chi or by himself like might have been like it might have been too much for like Wang-Zhi all by himself to like fend off and depend off with the fleet. Might have been like the situation, especially my pyramid. So like like Wang-Zhi still might have definitely escaped from like the past and the full idea might have been what kind of happened, especially when the famous. So so like my confidence shows that like at that point that Wang-Zhi might have like totally escaped from like the fire side and the full dead and I was like the Navy vessels along with the Koby that might have chased after him might have but still might have not been able to like catch up to might have not been able to like capture Wang-Zhi. It's definitely my confidence. So like the current location or like whereabouts of like the mysterious capture Wang-Zhi would be like totally unknown. It's definitely my theory and prediction. So like Wang-Zhi will be definitely a rock and then would like Wang-Zhi would be hiding somewhere in like the world and considering Wang-Zhi would be definitely having still having his eye on like getting back like the fire island of full alert and rolling over like the fire island of full alert, especially in my memory. Okay, so like definitely my secondary impression right now that's for like the more likely possibility that end of the premise would be like Blackbeard would actually be in fact like Rock's son. But like I'm talking like even Rocks won't be aware of it, especially when because like Rocks might have villainously abandoned his son when his son Blackbeard when like Blackbeard might have been a baby. Might have been what might have happened in like the distant past, the name of the premonition. And that way, like I'm assuming neither Blackbeard nor about my even aware that like the two of them are like father and son. It's also like about the possibility that I'm looking for sleeping and my person reactions. Okay, so at the name of the premonition right now would like basically Blackbeard being confused as to like whether to take for handbooks like or like if like for handbook would be keeping her word and doing like the application of like Blackbeard remembers or not like that. We have the difference right now. But I'm still thinking about the information that like Hancock won't be like doing like the petrification of both the crew members of like main crew members of Blackbeard like scenarios that have like that. That among those two main crew members of Blackbeard that are shown on along with Blackbeard and so definitely one among them would be still even though the person will be in like that specified state in like Amazon will use definitely not a prediction because like unlike my prediction that unlike in Kobe's case like in Kobe's case like if like a hand of undoes like the better version Kobe the different would be definitely leaving Amazon Lily and keeping Kobe's word and leaving Amazon Lily but like in the case of like Blackbeard I'm considering like if like the scenario ends up being like Hancock like undoing like the petrification of like if Hancock undoes like the petrification of both of like the main strong henchmen of Blackbeard that have been petrified like then Blackbeard would be straight away not keeping his side of like the word and the bargain and basically Blackbeard would be totally breaking like the condition and the deal and basically straight away once again trying to like uh possibly even attempt to like attack straight away attack that Hancock solely to have like a new solely to like make use of like Hancock like level for everything. Also because of like Blackbeard definitely would have like been convinced by like Hancock's Hancock's the things that Hancock said that basically Hancock's telescope can't be stolen and basically can be used that like Hancock's telescope power only works with when it's in like the position of Hancock. Like Blackbeard might have only bought that even the represent. So like I'm just like get like I'm doing like if Hancock right now were to like undo like the representation of those two strong kind of like Blackbeard, then Blackbeard would be totally not keeping his word and would be trying to like abduct Hancock at that point. It's like my person very embarrassing. So like I'm just like definitely because of this reason I'm just like and Hancock will be like knowing Blackbeard too well. It's definitely really will be knowing that Blackbeard too well that I'm just like definitely with that really right now showing up like I'm just definitely really that threatening right now threatening Blackbeard to like basically with like destroying like destroying like the petrified statue of like one of like Blackbeard's strong henchmen if like Blackbeard doesn't let go of the like Hancock and basically that way Blackbeard letting go of Hancock and like at that point like really most likely telling Hancock to like only until the petrification of like only one among like the two like henchmen of like Blackbeard and basically that might be what like Hancock would be doing and like delivering like and I'm delivering like and solely due to that reason alone like I'm delivering solely for like Blackbeard to like not trust like having that single strong henchman of like Blackbeard in the better right form ending up being destroyed like like and that way Blackbeard losing that from X-Men that that Blackbeard might have. Solely due to that reason, I don't like Blackbeard might have definitely left, taken the decision to leave Amazon Mini at that point. It's definitely my 3% that I'm sitting on. Also, definitely my 3% right now as for like the girls are film like basically looking a lot like Hancock when she was like that age. Like I'm like it might have been definitely due to like just like in like the past like Hancock was in like captivity by the Celestial Dragons. I think that basically and basically like an important like in the state when like a really like the Celestial Past had saved Hancock. So like even back then like exactly like in King situation like function that like in Hancock situation as well like it might have started off like the with like present day creation of certain like tools that achieve that creation of like the architectures like the experiment might have even began by from even since way back then and Hancock was like the age of like the current serpent was definitely when the famous and this might be the reason for like the girls of him even having like being like the exact lookalike of Hancock when she was that age. It's really my comparison. So like I'm remembering that really solely due to like a really craving Hancock, like I'm remembering like the serpent might solely due to that reason I don't like the serpent. Those two serpents might not be having like the power of like the petrification power of like Hancock is definitely my comprehension. While like those two serpents having like the wings of King as well as like the fire of King as well. When you precisely due to like the experiments while King was like young and was like a person kind of like state in that punk facade. Even though Cairo had saved King, like still Amber Connect, it might have been too late because like Amber even by then like Amber like a punk might have, unlike in hand of state like a better person might have done this like experiment and reached the certain level. So that like basically even though Cairo back then had saved King like Amber still like King's powers might have been able to be might have to an extent of like King's powers might have been able to be extracted and by Vegapunk. So like I'm thinking that we might not only apply to this like serpent that is basically right now presently like the that's like attacking Amazon in the next present. It's definitely my theory and prediction right now. So like I'm talking like that as well as like there might be like a certain extent of King's powers as well as like since these serpents I think like are shooting light powers like I'm talking like that very same exact powers as that of like the very same like gain powers of like the initial public that definitely I'm going to bring like like Puma would be definitely be part of like the initial public stuff that might have only in which like I'm going to bring like might have only experiment on Cesaro alone in like the beginning and might have only been able to like expect and give like the life powers of Cesaro to alone to like Puma back then. But like I'm looking like in the case of like the Seraphim discuss like I'm looking on top of like Vegapunk possibly being able to add like the on top of like adding like the light powers especially similar to that of like Puma like I'm looking like Vegapunk might have only recently been able to like add and install that extracted powers of like King into these two serpents and then it might be only recently that like this serpent has it might have been only recently that the bear one might have achieved that and that might be the reason for like these two serpents like being brand new when compared to like the positive stuff of like Chuma. It's definitely my personal impression right now. Also, the game of the impression right now as for like Blackbeard affecting Koby, like I'm the second maybe due to like definitely Blackbeard cosplay wanting to like get for that intel because like I'm looking definitely Koby right now would be like at like a position. I think like basically Koby currently is not at like the position of like vice admiral, but still I'm looking like Koby would be like at the relevant enough of like a position like right under like the right like right number like the vice admiral position would be like the position of like Kobe right now in like the Navy and that would be still an important enough of like a position certainly my present. So like new member transition as for like the newspapers even saying calling like referring to Kobe as like the hero or like the RockyPort incident like I'm the definitely Dante might have definitely been her option and like back then like in that fight like I'm like for Blackbeard and like Parasol coincidentally might have been fighting against like Wang-Zhi while like Kobe as well might have showed up they are into like that island of Fullerhead and might have like together they might have defeated like Wang-Zhi might have been what might have happened especially when was the question because like Kobe already might have been given the orders by election Navy to catch up like catch up and bring Wang-Zhi especially my sister Amber. So like I'm thinking like Wang-Zhi would so I'm thinking the Bible tradition would be most likely about in this guy like okay. Also like might have been like while he was like ruling over like the island of Fire Island of Full like he might have been such an extremely villainous ruler and might have been creating all sorts of troubles in like the Fire Island of Full might have been what might have happened. Because like my impressions are like after like the rock fires like basically got the standard like and the like their face it was like the Fire Island of Full like back then like that island might have been known as like the Fire Island of Full it's the name of the temperature. Back then, there might have been only pirates, but like I'm looking after like the and that they might have all been like all those pirates in that pirate island might have been like they might have been all been feeling safe due to like the it being like the base of like the rock pirate. But like I'm looking eventually once like the rock pirates had gotten the standard, like I'm looking at that point, like I'm looking for the pirates in that pirate island of like full island might have left like the pirate island the full island is never the membership zone. And I'm also thinking like then like I'm looking it might have been uh like normal humans like that might have lived in like the island of Full what's the name of the brain person. So like my brain persons were like after like the God Valley incident once like the Rock Spirits got disbanded like after that like I'm looking the Rocks might have been like painted for like a great number of years and eventually like the Rocks might have been not been able to like leave like precious island of like full island. So like Rocks might have eventually after like a great number of years like Rocks might have made the return to like the to Full Island. And I'm talking by then, like I'm talking like there might all the pirates might have left like the island of Full Island, and I'm talking might have been lot of people that might have living in like the island of Full Island back then. So new so like I'm talking like at that point, once like Rock might have showed up there with like this guys as like Wang-Zhi like and started to like forcefully take over like and started rolling over. Like realistically rolling over like the island of Full Island. Like at that point, like all those normal people might have probably gone through extreme suffering. So like I'm assuming that way, like the Navy might have sent Koby to like basically stop one piece like Williams get the hold. So like I'm assuming that way, like I'm assuming that Koby might have stored up to like the fire fell the stored up to like full alert might have been what might have happened if you know the impression. So like I'm assuming once again, like Ross might have been like trying to turn that island into like a pirate island, and that might have been like causing like all sorts of like suffering and trouble for like the people that normal people living in that island might have been what might have happened. So like I'm thinking so like the Navy might have ordered like Koby to like basically stop Wang-Zhi. So like Koby as well as like a bunch of like Vice Admiral Churchill possibly maybe like showing up around like his Navy army like basically showing up to like full alert might have been what might happen. So like coincidentally during this time like the pirate crew as well might have decided to like basically take over and set their new bases like on the base of like where like the of pirates had basically rolled over back in like distant past like basically that way like Blackbeard might have wanted to make his base in like the pirate island of like in like the full alert. So this is my story. So like my grandparents were like the black Paris and Banksy who might actually be also like might have been like that fight might have happened and usually one and it might be after like that fight going on that like I'm just like coincidentally like Kobe might have shown up along with like Navy ship might have showed up and so like I'm looking like they might have totally as well attack Banksy. So like I'm looking that way Banksy might have gotten defeated and I'm looking like same way that Kobe as well as like Navy boat might have arrested Wang-Zhi and might have taken Wang-Zhi on the Navy ship. And this might be like how like Kobe might have totally became like the hero of like the RockyPort incident, like hero of the RockyPort incident is simply my thing. So like that battle in like Pullaland might have taken place in the fourth area of like the island of Pullaland, and that might be like the reason it's called the Rocky Fort incident because of like the rock spires in like the Western Pass like having their base in like the island of Pullaland, like so. It's also the name of the British like so like my references were like it would be kind of like a history scenario where like a history repeating itself, like kind of like a situation where like with like the Gold Valley incident in like that took place in like the distant past as well as like the Rocky Fort incident. It's definitely my memory impression. So definitely like since it's like the God Valley incident, like the central among like the central figures like there was like Garth as well as Hawk like and After this great number of years passing, like it will be the kind of like repeating itself with like the RockyPort incident where like among like the central figures like it will be like Wang-Zhi once again like Wang-Zhi will be definitely in this guy and like then there's like Koby as well being like a central figure and becoming the hero through that incident. And Jaffa as well might have gained like the name, the official hero title through like the God Valley incident, especially my premises. So like the same thing might have been it. Like Kobe has like trained a lot with like Gap and will behind like all sorts of similar to that of Gap, which like Gap might have trained Kobe to be able to like achieve respectively my premises. So like that way like it would be kind of like a history repeating itself where like in like the God Valley incident there might have definitely been like a fight between like Gap specifically between the car and Rock, where like after all these years passing, like in the Rocky Port incident, there might have actually might have happened like a fight between like badly exhausted like Wang-Zhi who would be actually a Rock versus like Kobe, who's like the kind of student of Gap. Uh, might have been such a fight might have happened and like in that fight like through that fight like Kobe might have defeated like the badly exhausted Banksy and might have like arrested Banksy and that way might have gained like the hero title. Might have been what might have happened back then should definitely might have re-emerged. So that way like I was and yet like I was like while Kobe might have been like taking Banksy to the arrested Banksy to like the Navy HQ like I was like on the way like I was like Banksy still might have only escaped like might have been what might have happened. Definitely remember the famous about which like the rest of the world will be totally unaware of. It's definitely my famous. So um so like definitely still so that way like the totally due to like the rest of the world was being not aware of that bank escape like still even to the present like probably having that hero title even to the present is also like a possibility that I'm remembering and I'm remembering. Also, the name of Graham right now put like Kobe's like abduction by Blackbeard like being all over like the newspaper like and this is like the current situation with like this connect through as well. It's basically them finding out they found it through like the those papers like I'm saying right now, but being like the remaining members of the connect through like after like seeing reading like and seeing like their boundary they will be dropping like the newspapers and but like it will be a Robin alone that would be like three reading like the newspaper fully. So like I'm going it will be like Kobe's news will be on like the other side. Which is of like the paper and stuff but like I'm thinking it's Robin at that point like casually but maybe like Robin not know I think like Robin doesn't know about Kobe just remembering. So like I'm thinking maybe like Robin like at that point like talking casually saying how like this like maybe person by the name Kobe has been like affected by Blackbeard like basically at that point I'm going to project actually Kobe as well as Zoro being totally shocked. I think that Nami as well doesn't know about Kobe what I think that even in Waterfront I think that basically it was only Lucy and Zoro that had seen Kobe. Definitely my impression of that point. Like I was thinking at that point Lucy and Zoro like totally being shocked at that hearing what Robin will be casually reading at that point. It's like about Kobe's like the scenario that I'm looking. So like I'm looking definitely at that point to be being genuinely seriously worried for like Kobe because like especially because of like the first person that has abducted Kobe being like the precise person that had precisely captured Ace before Ace's death. Like Blackbeard since like it's like the very same common strange of person black and strange of spirit Blackbeard that has like right now in the person as well like captured Kobe like definitely I'm referring to being hugely worried for like Kobe. It's definitely I'm referring like regardless of the basically like Luffy being like Luffy thought he would be feeling that basically the Navy would be like basically would be trying to like definitely would be trying to like save Kobe, but like Adam was that what Adam was at that point is like Luffy straight away telling like on seeing that news and the different narrative like Luffy straight away as like the captain like telling his crew members that basically we are going to like we are going to find and save Kobe. It's like scenario that I'm looking at right now with like this like Navy vessel like right now heading towards like this like form of like egghead like place like I'm looking at that so like the claim of premise was that like the heads would be most likely an island and I would like essentially that the Navy might have somehow figured out that basically because like everyone like Blackbeard might have after like abducting Toby like Blackbeard might have straight away head over to like that island. So the claim of the framework so like might be the potential reason for like a Navy vessel right now like basically heading over to Egghead Island. Just the name of the framework so like also the claim of the framework for like the island itself like being called except like ambassador like it might be due to like multiple possibilities. Like one possibility that ambassador maybe for all the inhabitants of like that island, like basically like being bored, like maybe like them willfully shaving off their head due to like some specific reason, or like them also being bored as well due to like some specific reason, especially my company, or like the other possibilities basically the island's shape itself, like could be the entirety of like the island shape itself might possibly being like the reason for like the island being called like at island, at least might be the reason. So also, the name of the person as for like the first reason for like that where other things for the amber would look like they should like get all the valuable and crucial and details from and secrets from within like the navy and everything, especially my president, which might be like maybe Blackbeard might be finding that useful right now in like Blackbeard like in like the person is definitely my president. So like I'm thinking like definitely, maybe like it might be also, I'm so something also that the possibility of like black and wanting to like, all the different kinds of like devil fruits that might be present within like the Navy Institute, like maybe like there might be like thing of such capacity, or like like it might be due to like maybe like they're wanting to like know of like where like the location of like the fourth and final road point like maybe to like the 40 to like interrogate probably and to like find out like among these multiple possibilities, like I'm going to be one of these or like multiple of these like that of the his information that Blackbeard will be like after through from Koby, and that may be the reason for like Blackbeard and taking Koby's technique might have been but like I'm like Koby definitely straight away being unwilling to like basically reveal any sort of like such ultimate secrets of like the Navy to Blackbeard is like the scenario that I'm looking and that way like I'm looking like Blackbeard like badly injuring poor Koby and I'm looking like Blackbeard putting Koby into like an interesting kind of like a situation like the scenario that I'm looking. So like the name of Israel impressions that basically it was like whole parallel kind of like a situation happening going on with like Kobe with like history repeating itself with like in the past while where like Alberta had basically abducted Kobe in like the recent past and right now in like the present with like Blackbeard like abducting Kobe. Like I'm remembering that Kobe is actually being so badly injured by Blackbeard and I'm remembering that Kobe while being in that important kind of like a state situation uh, and it will be like most likely at island that and like will be in that some kind of a situation and everything like during that time like it will be most likely outages that will be like giving Kobe or taking care of Kobe and giving Kobe like the food and everything is definitely going to be impressive. So yeah, that might have a good Kobe is usually showing that extreme anger and just like towards like outages for like betraying like the navy and siding with the pirates. Definitely my very embarrassing. So definitely I'm looking like in front of like while Blackbeard and the others would be present like I'm looking Akainu would be like the one that would be giving the food to like Kobe and at that point like I'm looking in front of all of them like Kobe probably shouting out how could you that would be giving the food and Kobe probably shouting out towards like how could be falling in out on his like the betrayal of like the navy and everything else. Definitely my other mentioned that. So like Kobe would be like thoroughly just like Kobe was like so passionate about like his like job as like Navy officer like definitely his job in like the Navy like will be thoroughly just liking out the that's definitely my other mention. So definitely I'm looking like eventually I'm looking in like Blackbeard and like just like other crew members absent numbers on like out the only showing up in front of like the in person Toby. Um, and I was just like it would be then that like I'm looking like how could you secretly and steadily revealing his like true intent behind joining like the Blackbeard Pirates and I was like how could you like having that serious talk with Kobe at that point like scenario that I'm looking and the whole situation was like how could you still speaking about the famous like how did you after like while Berlin player like I think like had Berlin player like the position of like being like a fleet admiral and after like losing to like Akainu Jack Campbell like how could he might not only got simply insecure since like he since, like he holds like such an important position of like the admiral position of like the Navy like like how could he might not only felt that basically this loss against like Akainu like like would be like might have totally felt made how could he feel like he's like weak so like like might how could he might have been feeling extremely reluctant to like head back to like the navy after his loss against like a guy so like like how could he might have decided to like basically get back to like lost pride of like through his like loss of that to speak up against like a kind of like for how we need to like get back to lost fight and then after getting back to a lost fight like for how we need to like return back to like the Navy might have been like the conclusion of like a final decision that like how we might have came to and like that way to like get back to lost fight like how we might have figured as like a plan like how we back then might have figured to like basically to might have taken the decision to like simply trick the Blackbeard Pirates and infiltrate into like that way infiltrate into like the Blackbeard Pirates and especially like that whole fight between like during like the time while Aokiji as well as like Akainu had that fight in like Pankazar to decide who gets to become like the fleet admiral. I think like basically during that time like I'm looking like Blackbeard might have already made it to like the position of being like the emperor of the sea. It's definitely my ambition. So but like after his loss against like Akainu, but like as part of like Aogeji's strategy to like get back his lost pride, like Aogeji might have been extremely insecure to like return back to like Navy's crew and work as like the admiral, continue working as like an admiral without getting back his like lost pride. So like I'm thinking like Aogeji might have decided to like basically infiltrate the Blackbeard Pirates group and like infiltrate into that way infiltrate into like the Blackbeard Pirates group by being like a crew member of like the Blackbeard Pirates and basically and at the end it's when like the fight between Aokiji and Akainu and Aokiji's loss against like Akainu that might have been spread all throughout like the world through like the news name of the remember through the newspapers especially name of the remember so like it might have been extremely embarrassing for Aokiji so like I'm looking like Aokiji might have also used the whole situation to like basically to like trick and convince like Blackbeard to like basically to join like the Blackbeard group and basically and Aokiji might have made it seem as if like it was like due to his like his loss against like Akainu, like him not wanting to be part of like the Navy anymore would be along the lines like Aokiji might have tricked Blackbeard and that way might have ended up joining like the Blackbeard fan group, but like Aokiji's actual true intent would be to like from within to like basically eventually stealthily so that absolute self like destroy like the Blackbeard Paris group from within and since like Blackbeard is like it is the Blackbeard group like the group of like an emperor of the Blackbeard like I'm looking like that way for like Aokiji to like so that absolute self from within to like bring down an emperor of like the sea Blackbeard as well as the crew and pirate crew and that way then for like LTD to like that absolute right to like return back into like the Navy and continue to job as like Admiral would be along the lines like LTD might be like might have had plans and would be trying to like execute that plan might be what LTD would be doing this entire time might have been doing this entire time simply when the payment so like I'm while Blackbeard and others won't be present in like their place at like Egghead and then the ambassador like how he like stealthily like showing up in front of like the person Koby and like how he revealing all this to like Koby's like the scenario that ambassador bring and that way like ambassador like how he along with like Koby like figuring out like the strategy to like basically how he will be seeing like Koby's like imprisonment as like an absolute chance because like how he it might be like finally thinking of like finally making a move so like ambassador it might be constantly during that time that like Koby he might have probably gotten abducted and imprisoned by the Black Witch so like I'm sure like how he trying to like take advantage of such a situation to like basically just like Kobe felt like was how to be to like really like might have like some sort of like might have figured out like some sort of like an ultimate strategical plan to like bring down like the Black Empire so and take his afflicted members out. So like I'm like with that intent like I'm like how could he eventually from Egghead Island and like eventually how could he like totally make him you know and like freeing Kobe. And I'm like in that whole chaos because like I'm definitely putting like the Navy vessels heading over to like island temples would be like the had to luckily after like Lucy would be like seeing like Roby's photo in like the newspaper of like his abductions by Blackbeard. Definitely Lucy won't be able to like basically just sit by and basically allow and to not take any action. So like and the like Lucy and the pro had to like Lucy straight away declaring that basically that they are changing their course and basically heading over to like island. And then for like but the of the like Navy like so that once again like Navy will be trying to like tell Lucy that basically Kobe's like part so once again being there and so possibly even telling trying to convince just casually telling Lucy that basically there will be like things like it's like a Kobe's like a Navy high rank Navy officer like that later will be like or a lot of Navy officers that will be showing up to like save Koby. So like should they go and try should they actually have to like go up to like Eckerd Island and save both the Navy as well as the Blackbeard pirates and try to like save Koby, or could be along the lines I'm like that's the usual stuff from is of definitely I'm looking like trying to escape from like danger again. So like I'm looking like Luffy like just by seeing like Luffy's serious face one way and I'm looking like also probably like shutting up at that point of like the scenario that I'm looking. So like straight away like I'm looking like like the straw hat back through and once again straight from their intended course and basically heading over to like Egghead Island is like the scenario that I'm delivering. So like I'm looking like this whole like as well like I'm looking by the time like he would be making his move and freeing Koby and like they would be trying to like bring like the Blackbeard Pirates crew down like I'm looking like during then like I'm looking their whole attempt like backfiring and I'm looking that resulting in like he dying by the hands of like the Blackbeard Pirate crew like the scenario that I'm looking. It's like the scenario that I'm talking. After this plan will be totally failing, and that would be resulting in like how PG ending up like in that whole uh, chaos of like a fight because like during that time I'm like it would be possibly after like how PG that no super like precisely at that point like the other remaining Navy vessels will be showing up to like Head Island and like the and like with the Straw Hat crew as well being finally would be making their move at that point and bring like there to be like that for chaos of like a fight happening in like Texas Island and I'm also thinking like that would be totally resulting in like eventually Koby being saved and basically Koby that being returning back to like the Navy as well as like the Straw Hat crew like basically have most likely having a fight against like the Blackbeard Pirates like also like a possibility that I'm also delivering and my percentage and in like the island of like ahead like I'm like there to eventually be a battle between like Sohel Fire Crew as well as like the Blackbeard Fire Crew. It's also like about India that I'm all the bring and brain rush. And so something like since like I'm something like there to be like a Blackbeard Fire Crew versus like the Sohel Fire Crew ultimate battle in like the island of like ahead eventually. Since like that's like the scenario that I'm going. Yeah, like I'm looking like the scenario to also be like an extremely disadvantageous situation for like the Blackbeard players. So when they will be facing off against like the strong players, so it's like the scenario that I'm doing. So like I'm looking like it is sold into like uh I'm looking like how to be making it that betrayal of like the Blackbeard players. So that shortly I'm going to go out of dying like I'm going out will be doing a lot of damage and I was going maybe like how it is even before it's that like taking out at least one of like the main one among like the main Blackbeard Pro members was also like about with that point. So that way like the strength of like the Blackbeard Pirates Pro like diminishing to a certain extent and like on top of that like the Navy as well will be attacking like, the Blackbeard Pirates so like that way as well like like collectively like I'm looking for like the Blackbeard Pirates so in that battle against like the Strong Empire so the time was trying to integrate actors in like second island like I'm looking the Blackbeard Pirates so the like fighting like the Strong Crew in like a disadvantageous kind of like situation so like I'm looking like the Strong Crew defeating like the Blackbeard Pirates so for like the time being it's like the scenario that I'm looking but like I'm looking like eventually like the centuries are like pre-battle kind of like situations happening where like the Blackbeard Pirates will be like even way more stronger than the present. So like the scenario that I'm doing. And in that battle, like I'm doing like the Straw Hat Crew, like struggling a lot against like the Blackbeard Bat Crew. It's also like an eventual percentage of fight of like the scenario that I'm doing only in MS3. Okay, so like the minimum three impression right now as for like except for Sabo and the three other Revolutionary Army members that had infiltrated the Marija, along with that Sabo had right now returned back all the way back to like Kamabanga kingdom, like I'm like definitely I'm looking like what might have happened would be like basically back then during their infiltration to like Marido, like I'm thinking back then like it might have been just like Pizutora as well as like a Rocky might have been like the only two admirals during that time that might have been present in like Marido during that time. So they might have been so, like I'm thinking what might have happened would be that um while Sabo might have rushed in to like save Soma, like Sabo might have been so got so extremely triggered by like seeing like the dragon like sitting on top of like Soma that I'm looking for like that Saba might have like emotionally might have totally gotten extremely triggered and that might have not been able to control himself and Saba might have rushed in and attacked that sensitive dragon. Uh, might have only like attacked that sensitive dragon and that then like Saba might have tried to like straight away free Kuma at that point. That was scenario that I'm trying and right then the self like I'm like the alarm might have went off, and like uh, the admiral like Pujitora as well as like Robu might have straight away rushing to the scene, and like right as they might have been like rushing towards like Sabu, like they might then both might have been stopped by like those other three revolutionary army members along with like Sabu, like they might have like totally stopped Rocky as well as like Pujitora at that point, like in scenario that I'm doing. So like their fight might have happened, and I'm sort of like the revolutionary army members like since like it might have been like a 3 versus 2 fight like Hamilton like definitely they might have been almost kind of like a evenly matched at that point. The 70 member break might have taken both three revolutionary army members to like kind of like equal out like the strength of like the two admirals like Pulitora as well as like uh, uh, not to equal out but at least get close to like the strength of like combined strength of like Pulitora as well as like how he used to like I'm gonna like they might have like stalled time for like basically Sabo to be able to like free Puma and then was like then like I was like what might have happened would be like Sabo might be like so is from that type of thing. Sabo might have uses like armament hacking and basically might have only carried Puma and might have like uh it's about that point might have given the orders to like the other pre-revolutionary army members that if they have to escape right now, like right then it's like the scenario that I'm doing that will like Sabo might have only picked up Puma and might have rushed out of like Marija. Might have been trying to like get out of like and leave from Marija and during the same time like I was like the other pre-revolutionary army members as well like I might have like straight away puts aside like the two admirals and might have tried to like escape as well at the same time, especially when the mission. But like I'm doing definitely like the focus of both Fujitora as well as like Rocky might have been specifically on Sabo and especially on top of like Sabo like being like the one that like free might have been like the one that might was like free like Kuma, the person of Kuma, but like on top of that like really like Sabo is like one of like even way more important like member of like the Revolutionary Army when compared to like the other three members of the Revolutionary Army. Definitely I'm looking like both Rocky as well as Fujitora that focus might have been totally on Sabo. So like I'm looking like the fourth them like Sabo as well as like the three other revolutionary army members like they might have came in like a split up kind of like manner like they might have not like together but like they might have like escaping like through different directions might have been what might have happened especially on the split up manner especially on might have happened something on my book so like I'm looking like that way like I'm looking through the escape like I'm looking like you can see there right now those other pre-revolutionary army might have made it back to like the Kamabanka kingdom, but like and like so like they might be only assuming that as and they might not only even kind of like in a way kind of like believe the news as well on the newspaper as well, which was definitely a false news minimum premise. Because like Fujitora back then like what might have happened would be like Fujitora as well as like Rocky might have chased after specifically Sabo who might have been carrying Kuma and the English attack to be like so extremely heavy like I'm looking like definitely Sabo might have definitely gotten captured by Fujitora as well as you might have been what might have happened. But like I was like the other three revolutionary army members that focused on their individual escape that they might have all escaped through different directions from like Marijo's terminal. So like so that way, like they might have not seen like Saga getting captured by like OPQ as well as like Bitora. So like they might have assumed that like Saga as well might have only escaped with like Soma, especially even after like seeing like the news as well, like news from like the newspaper as well. They might be thinking that definitely one with the reimbursement. While in actuality, one with the reimbursement that like what might have happened back then might have been like especially Sabo might have been captured along with like Kuma might have been like totally captured by like Fujitora as well as like Rocky Yu. And that way like Kuma might have been once again taken back to like Marija and might have been imprisoned once again and like once again like the Celestial Dragon would be like still using too much of limit reimbursement. But as for like Sabo and also like Sabo might have been put into like jail like and like a prison there like bring them to be like a prison in like Marija in Marija there would be like a separate prison section itself like and so like I'm looking exactly there would be where like I'm looking right now not only Sabo but like BD as well as like I'm looking maybe Top Flamingo as well, maybe would be present in that exact person right now in like the present discussion with the person that Top Flamingo after like being gotten away I mean like taken away, captured and taken away after like Top Flamingo's defeat um in like Treasure and like Top Flamingo might have been certainly brought to Marijoa to the person in like Marijoa according to like the orders of the dragon might have been what might have happened definitely when the Ranger simply because of like so Flamingo knows the like ultimate secret that basically the self other cells and dragons like all of them fear like basically that will be most likely that like what that ultimate secret will be most likely I'm sitting in my frame that like that ultimate secret that like the Flamingo knows would be most likely that like the one of like the road poneglyph like secretly kept hidden in like Marijoa. Deep within Marijoa, like there will be one of like the red road poneglyph would be kept hidden. Definitely with friends like that would be the reason for like the fourth road poneglyph being missing. Definitely with friends. It might have definitely been like the second missing poneglyph on like Fishman Island might have been that exact road poneglyph and like in the recent past like I'm according to like most orders like I'm like uh, the Navy might have totally like carried carried and taken away that like road poneglyph somehow like they might have using some sort of like a powerful some Navy and like or like an admiral having like some sort of like a powerful developer of maybe like electric symbols like might have somehow managed to like basically um managed to like while staying in like the bubble like within like the ship like he might have still used like from within the ship like he might have used like level for power or like through such similar kind of like some kind of like a manner like they might have lifted up that poneglyph road poneglyph from like the Pusman Island and like might have carried it and might have like put it onto like that like Mario like right on top of Pusman Island like they might have like lifted and got that road poneglyph and might have stored it hidden deep within like Mario. So definitely my first reaction is sitting onto so like this might be like the ultimate secret that Flamingo knows that basically the Silver Dragon Trap was being afraid of. Definitely my personal reaction right now. But still, my before impression that like it will be only that it might be only like the elders as well as like the more alone that would be like and knowing about like the history of like the void century and everything. As for like the celestial dragons, like I'm looking they would be like totally unaware of like the history of like the void century and like the relevant the resulting relevance of like the road poneglyphs and everything. So anyone with the direction the celestial dragons like here would be most likely connected to like the respected word possibly finding out about like the existence of like the road poneglyph like hidden deep within like Marijo might be like there might be like then they will be only hearing it along the lines of the like basically if the first of the world finds out about this like all those great number of pirates like trying to like get to Marijo and like coming rushing into like towards like Marijo trying to like get to Marijo and like to get to like the Monaco. So like that would be like the possibility of like them being attacked constantly with getting attacked by fire. If that information gets leaked about like the existence of like the Monaco leak within like Marijo might be that as good clear that the Celestial Dragons that will be like the only clear that the Celestial Dragons will be like having. It's definitely my personal theory and prediction right now. And so like my personal impression is that like solely due to this reason and purpose like even top Flamingo as well could be like in that whole present area section where like currently Sabo as well as like VV will be in present in like Marija. Definitely my personal impression that I'm sitting on. There's like definitely my personal impression right now is that like the Dragon League right now is totally worried, seriously worried for like Sabo. Like the possibility of like Sabo being in that sweet stage, that's definitely my personal impression. But like solely not to like worried especially Koala, like the members of the Revolutionary Army driving the debate or they're right now lines. Certainly, I'm very much and also like on top of that, like basically Dragon right now, you know, like he was saying like him not forgive uh Sabo if like Sabo had actually taken the dog of like definitely my previous were like before Dragon was like became a revolutionary army member like Dragon might have been a pirate, especially my previous so Dragon might have had this goal to be like the king of the pirates when Dragon was extremely young, maybe around like Lucy Page and Dragon might have set sail, definitely remember the Rainbow. So like my secondary impression is that like in the case of Dragon, like Dragon might have set sail to be like the king of the pirates alone and not to like find the One Piece because like my secondary impression is that like even before long before like Gold Roger's execution, like Ambassador like Dragon might have totally set sail on to like adventure to become a pirate. It's definitely one of the ambition. So like as to like what might have happened in like the December, definitely one of the ambition and like along the way of Dragon's journey, like Ambassador might have been when like Dragon might have eventually reached like Sabaody and like had seen like the whole screen villains of like the Dragon like Amazon like it might have been at that point that like Dragon might have decided to like end his journey to be like the king of the pirates and like Dragon might have taken a different path in his life and that might be to like create like the revolutionary army. I'm believing that Dragon might be like the founder of like the Revolutionary Army, what I think. So like I was wondering that this might have all happened at that point in like Dragon's life. So like that and Dragon might have been extremely young. So like I was thinking that it might be seen like the villains of like the Princess Dragon in like Sabaody that might have changed Dragon's mind and wanting to like create like the Revolutionary Army. And it might be at that point that Dragon might have set up a new goal and instead of wanting to become the king of the pirates, like Dragon might have set up just like new goal to like basically to be to create this like ultimate revolutionary army group and basically to bring about like the end of like the central dragons and basically to free all the people and all the innocent people and everything to free the world by bringing about like the destruction of like the central dragons. Like even dragon might be like, totally unaware of like the void century or the history of like the void century or like even about like the existence of like the elders and emo like and different dragon might be totally unaware of this. Definitely another generation. So like I'm thinking from dragon's point of view like the dragon should be like the people at like the very top, the villanistic people at the very top of like the hierarchy. So like from dragon's point of view, dragon would have even created like the revolutionary army to basically to eliminate all the sensitive dragons and dragon will be only thing that basically doing so would be like only freeing like the world would be along the lines like of like the limited knowledge that about like the world that dragon might be having, especially when the temperature. So like my consideration is that like it might have been during like in back all the way back in like the distant past during like dragon's youth that is a dragon might have like the like ultimate impact and which might have been to be like the king of the pirates, like Dragon might have set sail and eventually might have made it. Dragon and our like pirate group might have eventually made it to like Alabasta. Definitely my favorite. And even back then, I was thinking like maybe like Ivanko might have been like Ivanko might have been like Dragon's crew member. Remember the name. So like I'm sort of like Ivanko might have not been born in like the Kamabanka island. Just definitely remember the premise. Like it might have been an island eventually later on in like the future, like Evenco might have created. Just definitely my good reimbursement. So as a home base, it's definitely my good reimbursement. So that initially in the beginning, like I was doing maybe like Evenco as well might have been from like the Peace Flow and even Dragon as well might have been like his like origin as well might have been actually from the Peace Flow. You know, the reasons like I'm they might have all during their youthful days, like I'm doing, they might have all set up on like the journey to be for like dragon to be like the king of the pirates and basically like they might have eventually reached like Alabasta and they are like into the like dragon might have back then like met King Cobra. Definitely might have been Dragon and King Cobra might have totally straight away bonded and like they might have had like some they might have straight away became like the absolute great friend. It's definitely my Dragon and King Cobra might have straight away got them along when all the way back then. It's definitely my so like every ambitious and Dragon's friendship with like in Dobra might have started from all the way back then and everyone like since then like Dragon might be like known King Dobra far too well as to like how much of like a genuine and kind hearted person Dobra is. It's definitely my good image. So like this might be that's the reason for like Dragon right now. Like the person would be kind of like skeptical yet like the real side of like Dragon that would be even feeling of like the possibility that of like Sabo was making the mistake of like actually taking the life of that cobra. There will be that suspicion and within like dragon is definitely of like the possibility of like Sabo actually having taken the news being true and like Sabo actually having taken the life of King Cobra. So also definitely my mention like dragon would be totally confused as for like the clarity of like the truth in that it's definitely my mention. So But still, my opinion is that dragons would be like from dragons point of view at the very most like dragon would be talking things that even if like Sabo had in fact had actually if like that would be something that Dragon Bleaching as the worst case scenario that like you know, even if like Sabo had actually taken the life of like King Cobra, then even then like Dragon would be totally straight away would be absolutely confident that like it might have happened as like a result of like the horse chaos of like the fight that might have taken place against like the Admiral thing like Marija that might have maybe resulted in like the death of like uh, King Cobra would be along the lines like Dragon will be thinking just like Dragon will be absolutely certain that King Cobra is like such a genuine person that like and since like Dragon will be knowing Sabo far too well like Dragon will be absolutely certain that like Sabo won't be like taking the life of like King Cobra as his choice like basically it even if like such a death of King Cobra might have happened like it might have been like the result of like the whole chaos and pollution and destruction that might have taken place in like Marija during like the fight between like Sabo and like Admiral would be along the lines like like Dragon would be even right now in the person would be totally delaying especially when it's sort of my impression right now as for like Dragon right now asking Kuma as to like what happened in like Mario like like regardless of like the things that Kuma would be right now telling Dragon like like regardless of that like definitely the final decision that Dragon as like the leader of like the army will be taking Supreme like need to like wait for like a one more week or like a or like a for like a 4 days or something like 4 days for like a week for them to like wait for 4 days for like a week and if like Sabo still doesn't return by then like and for them to like basically to make their move and head back to like Marijon and basically to for them to like basically ensure to like basically to like bring back and rescue and save and bring back Sabo. So like this will be like most likely the decision that I'm going to bring like a dragon as like the real leader of like the revolutionary army would be like eventually taking without much career delays like the scenario that I'm going to bring him up to the impression right now. Okay, so like the treatment of the impression right now with like Guapuma's like memory being thoroughly damaged to like the point of like due to like the games experience and everything like like that Kuma not even being able to like, recognize any of the like friends like Sarah which were definitely my other impressions that eventually I'm definitely preferring like Kuma would definitely be surviving to like the very end of like the show like the scenario that I'm looking and I'm definitely preferring like eventually for like Kuma's memories to like return and I'm looking like as like how that will be happening and I'm looking for me like it will be precisely through like the revolutionary army or like the Zohat pirates like eventually like the distance would be definitely affecting like Vegapunk like the scenario at some point in like the thing that I'm like one of these two groups like that revolutionary army or like Zohat pirates eventually after meeting with like the revolutionary army and seeing Kuma and all maybe that as well happening in the eventual future. So like I'm looking at that point definitely Luffy taking the decision and basically like I'm looking actually one of these two groups like I'm immediately abducting Vegapunk and I'm like them threatening Vegapunk with like taking Vegapunk's life if Vegapunk doesn't restore back too much memories like it's like in the scenario that I'm looking and that way like I'm like that one even though Vegapunk would be like an extremely villain stick and extremely like an extreme scientist like I'm looking like and would be able to like create all this like dangerous and powerful weapons and everything. Skill level like where the person weapons would be still like someone who's like not that much extremely courageous or anything who's definitely going to train it. So like I'm definitely like one like Luffy would be most likely threatening like weapon like the scenario that I'm looking and that like I'm resulting in like weapon like totally I thought Luffy or Sabo at that point would be like threatening weapon and like at that point like the scare weapon at that point that fixing Kuma, like the scenario that I'm doing, restoring back the entirety of the memories of like Kuma, like the scenario that I'm doing, and that way like Kuma being back to his like actual self, those self is like the scenario that I'm doing. And I'm also like at that point itself, like I'm also like Luffy would be like the first thing Luffy would be telling Kuma would be like that absolute thank you for like saving them back in like Sabaody. So definitely my was very important. Yes, well, like definitely I'm concerned right now with like the Navy men being right now alert of like the sponsor come to like Shamabaka Kingdom like I'm definitely so like the Navy won't be like actually having absolutely no idea at all as for like where Sabo even is in like the person. So like Sabo might have actually succeeded in like escaping, but like I'm like right now in like the present time, but the glittering Sabo might have probably after escaping from Marijuana, but the Sabo might have made it all the way to like Exit Island. It's a minimum so like to inform this to like the revolutionary army might be like what Sabo right now would be calling the minimum preemption because like I was like the Navy would be in that like after relentless perhaps like capture Sabo minimum preemption led by Akainu minimum preemption. So like I'm looking definitely Sabo might have thought that basically it might not be like a good idea for him to like basically so like him not having any revolutionary army team members like crew members by his side like I'm looking like Sabo might be feeling as if like basically it won't be that a wise idea for him to like basically try to make it back all by himself. So like I'm looking like so percentage of reason Sabo right now would be like right now after like making it to after that escape from like Marigo Sabo might have made it to like a head island and everything like from there like Sabo right now would be calling like Kamabaka Swindom and telling like the dragon and like the revolutionary army to like show up to uh telling dragon to like and the revolutionary army to like come to like uh come to like Egghead Island and like to pick Sabo up would be like the intent behind like the current phone call of Sabo. It's definitely one of the impression. So there's like definitely one of the impression right now with like for Luffy right now being desperate to like basically to go to like Marijoa to like basically save Lily. But like I'm looking like with like Zoro sticking his to his stand up like basically needing a lead before like doing that like I'm looking definitely them without much great delay and at all like I'm looking so at getting their lead and that lead would be possessed with Sabo especially my personal impression. So like I'm looking like the scenario to be like right now as like with like this like throwing like such a dilemma and like a confusion and like sadness of like think of stuff and like uncertainty of like she safety and everything like I'm looking right now with I'm looking the an idea to like strike for like Robin and that would be to like precisely because like since like Robin had basically during the whole 2 year time shift like Robin had spent so much time with like Sabo and Koala and like Robin might have got Koala's number back then, Stephanie number anything like that number would be like still the with like a Robin right now, Stephanie number like I'm looking like a Robin right now coming to like come up with like a solution and coming with that lead of a solution where like I'm looking like a Robin right now telling Luffy and the others that basically that like they can that Robin has the number of Koala and like through Koala they would be able to like get in touch with like Sabo and basically like find out from Sabo since like Sabo was like had basically wasn't like Marijo during this whole incident like like through Sabo like they might be able to find out like the truth about like the situation might be along the lines of like a Robbie coming up with like solutions right now it's like the scenario that I'm assuming that way like I'm like Robin like from like the uh in that the shit like I'm like Robin calling Koala like the scenario that I'm doing but like I'm like even before that like I'm like the call from Sabo to that Koala will be over and I'm through that phone call I'm sitting with permission for like Sabo telling Koala that basically he's hiding in like Egghead Island, and basically that like Koala and Dragon and like the revolutionary army should like come to like Egghead Island and get pick him up to be around the line. Like, the scenario that I'm looking. So like I'm looking Koala at that point like telling so that phone call of Robin like I'm looking Koala telling Robin that basically about like the whereabouts of Sabo being here at like Egghead Island. So like I was that way, like it's so I was straight away deciding to like make the next destination as like I was straight away deciding that their next destination would be like an island. So like I'm going to be only like happy as well as there'll be like the side of Luffy that will be extremely happy and excited of like him being able to like once again see Sabo, but like there will be also that side of like Luffy that will be like totally feeling extremely worried and uneasy when it comes to like when it comes to like the situation of like the Stephanie Weber like to find out the truth like I'm like them totally deciding to like head over to like Head Island with like the scenario that I'm looking and I'm looking like Sabo like as well I'm looking the scenario that I'm looking is also that like really with like Sabo right now talking to like Koala through like the rendering scene like right now I'm looking like through that phone call I'm looking like Sabo I'm looking like quickly hanging up the phone. Like I'm like Sabo also would be like aware enough to like realize that possibility of like a possibility of like spawning to like the Kamabaka kingdom in like the current situation of Sabo, possibly having the threat of like basically like whereabouts getting leaked. So like Sabo deciding to like the possibility of the world government having check the phone call like there will be all that to be along the lines like Sabo would be kind of like aware of the cinema with the so like Sabo not talking long at all. So like the redundancy to that Koala, like the scenario that I'm saying, Sabo and the friend in that phone call straight away telling Koala that it's like keep talking and basically Sabo is just quickly telling Koala for like it's like current whereabouts which will be in in like the Egghead Island and basically that Sabo straight away would be also telling Koala to like not call Sabo back and basically because of like the rest of like the navy like tapping like the calls and everything like would be along the lines of different like Sabo telling who that phone for a message and right now itself to call us like the scenario that I'm doing in that way like I'm like Koala not being able to like call Sabo back and basically ask Sabo about like movies like the scenario that I'm doing and like Vice Robin will be calling Koala saying just to like Robin as well like the scenario that I'm doing. So that way, like I was like it would be a lot of them taking the decision to like straight away head over to like a head island and basically like talk to Sabo in person and about like all the about like the crucial information for like the whereabouts and like the safety of like GV and everything. It's definitely my good. So like I'm looking Ambassador in the play, it would be Ambassador, so it would be in like Egghead Island that Ambassador like a lot of like a reunion happening where like Ambassador like when Luffy would be most likely seeing Koby in like Egghead Island, Luffy seeing once again seeing like Sabo and Luffy seeing Dragon like basically after like right now Luffy are realizing that Dragon is his like father like Luffy for the first time meeting Dragon as well. That is what Ambassador taking place in like happening in like Egghead Island as like Dragon and like Revolution awareness well would be like heading over to like Egghead Island. It's like scenarios that I'm looking and there's also with like the Navy even tapping like the phone calls from Sabo to Kola to like the Kamabaka Island. I'm looking like another whole section of like Navy as well heading over to like Egghead Island. It's also like a definitely possible scenario that I'm looking and definitely looking Navy for like Akainu as well. Being on that Navy vessel that would be heading over to like Egghead Island to like possibly capture Sabo. It's like the scenario that I'm looking that way, like the Flame Emperor versus like the Magma Admiral, like Akainu versus like Sabo fight as well as definitely pretty a possibility of like such a fight happening on Egghead Island. It's like the scenario that I'm assuming. Yeah, like I'm assuming, even in that fight, like I'm assuming like Akainu most likely I'm assuming would be like a tad bit more stronger than Sabo in the fight that I'm referring to be taking place in like Egghead Island. But like I'm referring like usually in like the series are like I'm referring like that's a rematch to happen between like Sabo as well as like Akainu in like the series and I'm referring to in that rematch that I'm referring Sabo not only thoroughly overpowering and struggling his way into like thoroughly eventually overpowering and defeating Akainu, but also I'm referring like Sabo like and like the play member of Sabo and like the he's living through within Sabo through those planes like getting his revenge on Akainu through Sabo by like Sabo usually not only overpowering and defeating Akainu but also taking Akainu life. It's like preventive scenario that I'm looking on the Another image and I'm looking like also like the possibility that like basically of like as for like how Sabo would be like taking a kind of like like it would like it to be like a similar kind of like an attack as like how Akainu had taken place like during the war in Marine Corps. Like I'm looking like a similar kind of like an injury is what I'm referring as for like how Sabo will be like taking Akainu's life but like into scenario that I'm referring. So like I'm looking like by then like I'm looking that just is of speed that is against like Akainu versus Sabo like Sabo by then would have trained his like haki power as well as those powers and might have reached like such extreme superior levels of strength because Lima would mention that way like Sabo in that assembly the fight like basically causing the similar kind of like injuries that like Akainu had caused is when Ace had died like that similar kind of like an injury what I'm remembering like Sabo will be inflicting on Akainu and that way that being how like Akainu eventually ending up dying by the hands of like Sabo the play member of Sabo, like the Vincent scenario, this Vincent scenario that I'm remembering right now. Okay, so like the flame of very emotion right now as for like the ultimate goal, the ultimate dream of like Luffy, just like right now, Luffy has revealed to like the Straw Hat Crew. The one revealed like basically the one to like the reaction of like the Straw Hat Crew, where like the majority of the Straw Hat Crew members like basically find it like an impossible dream, like about the like most likely what like Luffy's that ultimate goal would be most likely at that actual true goal would be most likely, which like Luffy believes that would be possible for like Luffy after Luffy becomes like the king of the pirates. Would be definitely I'm still thinking about the revision that like it's like Luffy has already revealed just like actual ultimate goal in like the beginning that they believe was to basically to be like after being like finding like the One Piece and becoming the king of the pirates like that way like Luffy will be able to be like the freest person in like the world. So like I'm considering right now that Luffy might have had that maturity and that growth in him that basically right now he will be thinking for like others as well. Just like the scenario that I'm considering. So like right now the Luffy's like ultimate goal might have changed, upgraded a bit to the point that basically right now Luffy will be like actually thinking that basically of like and not only making it becoming the king of the pirates and basically that way being like for just for himself to be like the most freest person in like the world, but to like set the entire world free to like basically to share that freedom that would be like will be confidently believing that he would achieve at that point when he becomes like the king of the pirates with like the rest of like the world and that way to like set like the rest of like, the entire world free. This could be like the like ultimate goal of like Luffy right now, which like I'm considering right now, like the majority of British had to remember, even thinking, even while they have so much belief in Luffy, like even them thinking, finding it like impossible would be the ultimate goal of like Luffy is definitely my personal impression. And I'm like definitely in this like Luffy's path to like basically achieve this like ultimate goal of like setting like the entire world free. Like I'm remembering like Luffy definitely would be having to like would be having no other option but to like cross path with Emo and defeat and bring down Emo. And that way like fulfill like the joy boy from like the voice and the his will to bring down Emo and set the entire world free. It's definitely my personal realization. All of this like coinciding eventually and together and basically like being one and basically the world being set free finally. This is like the eventual scenario. This is the final scenario that I'm also the very impression right now. So yeah, so like the film I have a very impression right now is like Lucy right now revealing his like ultimate dream, which might be like I want to like basically it will be not like this Lucy might have what Lucy might have said might have been like that he wants to like set the entire world free, which definitely remember correctly. And that might be that impossible seeming goal for like the rest of like the squad crew members, which would be what right now would be making that the majority of like the squad crew members laugh. Exactly, like, and I was like that would be like most likely a parallel to how like how the as well as like the how the pirates had basically laughed out loud on finding laughter because like in laughter like the truth among like the truths that they might have found like the most biggest like most biggest truth that they might have found from like the Chronicles in laughter might have been that like in 20 more years like basically that like Joy Boy from like the Voice in the Ring would be making such a return and that person who is like Joey Boy will be making a return, would be setting like the entire world free, would be along the lines it might have been written in that Pony in like Laptale is definitely my personal impression, and that might have been what might have made like the entirety of like the Roger Pirates like laugh out loud. Uh, that and all of them like laughing and like Laptale might have been due to like them on seeing this like written on like the phonics like that might have made them laugh out so loud together due to like the extreme impossible nature of like such an ultimate dream and definitely my personal theory and prediction right now. Well, it's like the clean and the three impression right now, technically right now, revealing to the process like Rocket members that basically has already revealed this like ultimate dream and goal of like Luffy to already to like not only just Cape and Sabo but also to like Shanks and all of them had laughed upon hearing it. Like I'm super like this would be totally coinciding with like the name Joy Boy is the name I was bringing because like back in like the White Century while Joy Boy was alive, like I'm like the entirety of like the world might have been set free, and that might be the reason for like Joy Boy even gaining like the name Joy Boy. It might have been like the people who lived in like the voice in the that might have called him Joy Boy because of like him Wherever he goes, like he would be like spreading that absolute joy by setting all the people free wherever he goes. It's definitely my country ambition. And so like this would be all coinciding together. It's definitely my country ambition. This might be the precise reason for like everyone like laughing on hearing like and Luffy's like impossible seeming dream, but like in actuality that impossible seeming dream might have been an actual reality and back during like the void century and that void century and that might be the reason like the world might have been like that back during like the void century and that might be the reason for like he moved like totally desperately ensuring to like have the world's government like raise all evidence and any trace of like Joy Boy as well as like the void century Stephanie my good ambition like the desperately doing all that will be precisely because of the reason it's definitely my secondary impression right now. Okay, so like the female Victoria impression right now with language lead to be revealing the like ultimate dream and basically right now with like the close up shot of like the faces of like Zoro, Nami, Usopp and Sanji right now being shown like and definitely still remember the impression that like basically the straw hat like this like crew members might have actually like the straw hat pirates might have actually been the group might have been actually formed precisely during like the walk in like Harlem Park definitely might was very pressure. So definitely that the crew members that were present along with like Luffy when like the straw hat pirate group were formed like I'm between like Zoro, Sanji so and Nami and I'm different like right now with their role looking a bit right now with like him revealing his like ultimate goal and like their facial expression like like the meaning behind like the facial expression of each of them like I'm definitely pretending like in the case of Thor I'm the different like it will be that unwavering absolute certainty of like a confidence in that like Zoro would be right now having like in that in Luffy even achieving that ultimate goal of Luffy. But in the case of Usopp, like I'm like Usopp still would be like totally confident in Luffy, but like I'm like Usopp like would be totally having that absolutely no clue at all as to like how exactly Luffy would even be able to like achieve this goal. It's definitely my perception. Usopp would be totally having that belief strong belief in like Luffy, but like the Usopp's like face like I'm like it might have been definitely that like extreme uncertainty as to like having absolutely no clue at all as to like how Loki would he even be able to like make this happen? It's definitely my impression. In the case of Sanji, like I'm sure like Sanji would be like Sanji's smile would be totally like Sanji totally bring the thing like Luffy is like totally crazy, but in a good way. Like Sanji totally thinking like Luffy is totally crazy to like even dream to even be able to even dream such a dream. It's definitely my impression. In the case of Nami, like Nami's like emotional facial expression, but like Nami would be totally emotionally overwhelmed by the beauty of like Luffy's dream. It's definitely my personal dream. So like this might be like the meanings of like the facial expressions of like the initial trio crew members of like Luffy's like forehead. So it's definitely my personal impression right now. So like basically short like necessary impressions that while like the other pirates were all like laughing while like getting it to like laugh tail and like in the case of like the straw hat crew like I'm like it to not be any that to not at all be any sort of laughter at all. Like it would be like like the scenario to be like the straw hat crew being in that absolute extreme shock but like I'm looking like it will be Luffy alone that I'm looking at that point will be laughing while all the remaining crew members of like the Straw Hat will be in that absolute shock because like that have right now that absolute impossible kind of like a dream that basically Luffy has right now read as like the end of this like that what he wants towards the end of the dream that basically that exactly would be what would be like written in like the chronicles in like Laughtail, which like Ambassador and Yusuf had through would be like certainly seeing in like in the through like the chronicles in like Laughtail, especially my other image in like as for like that show the realization of like the world age under that basically for the sprite through that it will be like that actual show that basically 800 years back like someone had dreamt like the very same dream that Luffy wanted to like achieve and he had like basically actually achieved that dream and like the word was exactly like the way like Luffy exactly the way according to like Luffy's like ultimate impossible seeming crazy kind of dream that was like the word 800 years back and like someone like by the name Joy Boy had basically achieved that single-handedly achieved that dream 800 years back. Like basically that realization would be only given like to Scott as through members like that absolute shock. While Luffy alone, that realization would be like giving Luffy alone that absolute laughter. Just remember the remember. But I come like the battle would be in like a different manner. While like the other part, all of them had laughs on make after like making it to like laugh tell and like in the case of like so what they usually find is struggle their way into like making it to laugh tell at that point the remaining Straw Hat crew all being like totally thoroughly shocked, unable to like speak while Lucy alone would be like laughing his half out at that point. It's like the eventual scenario that I'm looking to bring and preemption. So like the thematic brain the shooting of the and the play that really but Captain Ross like the rock fan myself totally betrayed like this crew member that namely Kylo, Payphone, and Whitebeard that during like the God Valley incident that took place in like, the house of the even preparation because like even the God Valley incident itself might have been like a trap set by Timo and Rock to basically like the to eliminate like the remaining members of like the Rock Path to eliminate like Kaido, Big Mom as well as like Whitebeard. It's definitely quite a brain reason because of that during the whole situation back then being like the Rock Fire like being this like too forced to be like reckoned with like ultimate pirate group that it don't fear like basically like that might have caused like sort of spirals to like gain Timo's attention but like I'm basically like Timo might have wanted to like eliminate that stuff and destroy like the rock spirals so like I'm basically like not to do that like I'm basically like and I'm basically like back then like I'm basically maybe like the rock spirals like during their prime might have been even probably even stronger than the roger spirals. It's also like it also developed so like Timo might have totally seemed like kind of like a threat in like the of like gaining more and more strength and popularity and everything like gaining more and more strength and everything so you know the third. So like I'm thinking the strategy that you might have used to like destroy and get rid of and eliminate like the rock path might have been like the very exact same strategy that you might have been using all the way back from like the void century. It's definitely one of the trend which would be most likely I'm still remember premonition that like definitely would be having like the immortal devil process definitely not the premonition. Would be totally having like the power of immortality and it wouldn't be just that it will also that like would be having like the power to like offer the most like immortality to like the people of like choosing especially in point of the impression for definitely like might have only used this power of immortality of like to basically trick and like manipulate and change the script all the way back to like the voice changer is the clean of the temperature. And so like I'm sitting in the frame to that like even Joy Boy's that as well might have been I'm sitting there referencing that ultimate crime that huge crime that that Tunisia even to the person is like so extremely feeling guilty about that Tunisia had committed like which might have been definitely like the death of Ganesha taking the death of Joy Boy. It's definitely might have been by that absolute betrayal. Might have been what might have happened. Yet like I was saying, like it might have been still seniors that might have been played the role even back then. With like offering like immortality to Tunisia in exchange for like taking the life of like Joy Boy. And like sole reason for like Tunisia even falling for that might have been solely due to like the situation comes to the situation that because then like the situation might have been like Tunisia gaining in age and getting seriously old and Tunisia Tunisia already at that point might have been feeling as if like Tunisia won't be able to like live long or be like able to like live long might have been like the feeling that Tunisia might have had and on top of that like I'm just it might be especially during then that I'm just like Joy Boy one day while traveling through this like part of Indonesia might have seen like the mermaid princess and I thought like it might have been like the Jamie like basically like at one point in like the project post like journey like Jamie thought it's Jamia on like the sea like Amazon might have been like a similar kind of like a situation back in like the original while Georgia might have been traveling on top of like Indonesia like one day like and like from the sea, like the mermaid prince might have only jumped out. And I was like, that might have been that the initial meeting of that how between like the mermaid princess and Joyce might have happened during the man without like I'm looking like the mermaid princess and Joyce might have straight away got along and might have like totally bonded and that friendship might have been straight away formed. So like at that point definitely there might have that exchange jealousy might have formed within Indonesia towards like the mermaid princess like towards like the mermaid princess like so really that good the friendship between Joy Boy and the mermaid is made out of like that extreme jealousy with Indonesia and extreme jealousy and like just like within Indonesia towards like the mermaid and the as well as like a dislike towards like Joy Boy as well as the new so definitely that coupled with like Indonesia during that time might have been like she's gaining in own age and Indonesia might have felt that Indonesia doesn't have that much time to live so like I'm doing Indonesia while being in such a disturbed and sad situation, like Dunisha might have probably felt unwanted at that point, unwanted by Georgia at that point. So like I'm talking like while Dunisha might have been felt like the person sad and disturbed and temporarily like Dunisha might have stayed alone for like a while. Like it might have been just a while that Dunisha might have like stayed away from Joy Boy, like making up some sort of for a reason and like Dunisha probably uh, might have been like Saran, might have been like all by Vinicius, might have been all by himself. So like at that point, like the center time, like Amy might have been like steadily talking and spying and observing like all these things that was like in like Joy and Vinicius' life. So like I mean, like Emo might have totally so that situation of like Vinicius to totally trick Vinicius by offering that to Vinicius like the offer of like immortality and that might be like the first time in his life that he might have used this like offering of like that immortality strategy. The utility is like because like Kunsha at that point that couldn't only unwanted and creatively with that Kunsha also like getting in on is like in that situation like Kunsha might have totally gotten tricked by it and manipulated by and might have like Kunsha might have taken up like the offer of like immortality in exchange for like taking Joyboy's life. Like the scenario that might happen. So like I would like definitely like Joyboy might have like how Tunisia might have taken the life of Joyboy and took it away the tension that like Joyboy might have died due to like surround might have been what might have happened. Certainly I would because like I was like it might have been like an extremely stormy weather and like Tunisia might have probably like so himself and might have caused like Joyboy's like feet to just touch the water and the thing is since like Joyboy might have been a giant but like the development fruit like the William was like just Joyboy touching the water might have probably gotten that Joyboy to that get weak like Joyboy to get weakened. So like I'm looking at that point that Unique might have kept on shaking Joyboy and might have put Joyboy off William Tunisia and that way like Joyboy might have fell into that stormy sea might have been what might happen. This might be like what might happen. And like as part of like the deal between like Imo and Tunisia, like Imo might take out of Tunisia to like after taking Joy Boys like that have like evidence for Tunisia to like bring the giants pro hat of like Joy Boys. So like that might be how like the giants pro hat like Tunisia might have after taking Joy Boys like might have brought the giants pro hat to Imo and Imo might have straight away been so extremely excited and pleased at that realization of that like Joy was like no more. So like the evidence victim might have straight away offered immortality to like Tunisia. And like I'm looking like it might have been that exact and I'm looking at that point like might have straight away taken that like giant straw hat of Joy Boy and put it into like Marijo. Might have bit Marijo and might have like deduct that giant straw hat of like Joy Boy in that Marijo as like the symbol of like victory would be along the lines like even to the present we seeing that victory over Goal by India along the lines like moved even to the person we seen that then for having the name of the name is correct and like Tunisia since then like particularly like Tunisia might have like circled around in very same path like the fact that the island of so like mostly is like around like same kind of like an area since like Tunisia might have I think that had like for a great number of years like I think that had that circled around the seas around the same area would be because of like that area would be like around like the area in which like basically towards the end of the world century Tunisia might have taken Joy Boy's life and basically Joy Boy might have drowned around that area. So like I'm telling you, Lunisha, even though Lunisha might have gained immortality, like Lunisha might have been drowning in that extreme guilt eventually. That guilt might have set them and basically Lunisha might have been drowning in that extreme guilt and that might be the reason for like Lunisha even to the present like circling around that very same area. That area might be where like Lunisha might have taken Joy Boy might have drowned especially due to like Lunisha, especially in the train. So the William was from that even eventually even 800 years later, like I'm like move would be that still using that with the same immortality bribing like manipulation strategy against like Shank as well, like you might have already used that. So like I'm looking like in the past, like basically Shank casually walking up to like and entering Marijo might have been probably due to like remove summoning chat. Definitely the frame rate like sending like the Navy to like and then like and then somehow like Shanks might have gotten like brought to like Marijo might have been what might have happened frame rate. So it might have been like maybe all the admirals might have sort of been like catch up and bring Shanks might have been maybe what might have happened. Or like something along the lines might have been what might have happened. So like Shanks being summoned into like Marijo and like back in like the past like Shanks being present in Marijo might have been solely due to like Shino want and fact that like Shanks might have not showed up there to Marijo to like to talk to like the elders, but like even Shanks might have talked to like Timo back then it's definitely with friends to say like Timo back then might have bribed Shanks as well with like the offer of immortality in exchange for like bringing back like the Gundam food from Luffy and basically offering it to that if Shanks does that like in exchange with reward Shanks with like immortality might be like a deal that might have been made between like in one Shanks and like that December. It's definitely a very much so like I mentioned like in like the past, like basically he have been shown like staring at like the photo of Blackbeard as well. And wondering like it might have been like a similar kind of like a summoning might have definitely happened in the case of Blackbeard as well. I think so like a move might have totally summoned Blackbeard as well to like Marigan might have totally made like the same offer with like Blackbeard as well. Definitely remember frame vision. So definitely that that way like I'm just wondering like but like in the case of Blackbeard, in the case of Shanks, I'm just wondering like since like Shanks doesn't have like the middle initial DM's name, like Amazon Shanks will be like totally of like the submissive mindset and might have in even to the person like Shanks will be of like the mindset to like is basically like eventually like to take advantage of that whole guilt lying within the feet of like Shanks giving his like to like Luffy to save Toby, like basically to like totally take advantage of that shit lying within the feet to like basically get back his like Amazon so would be like chance what chance would be like totally planning into the person certainly my friends to get back the coming two times to give to like to move and to get more traffic would be like chance is mind the right even to the person certainly my brain but in the case of Blackbeard like I'm just like even after like meeting like Blackbeard deep down definitely because of like Blackbeard having that meditation in his name like Blackbeard will be having such a rebellious mindset and then Blackbeard which we're only planning on eventually basically like to that Blackbeard might have told the person that since like emo that the person at the very top like want like the Gundam group of like Luffy so badly so like the Gundam group will be so expressed but it will be along the line like Blackbeard might have easily triggered and so like Blackbeard's current goal would be to like eventually find Luffy and steal back the Gundam group and for Blackbeard to like make the Gundam group his own so like maybe either by like removing by clear like the code or by like its plan might be to like have once like they will be getting like to steal this jump through and get swap like there to like handle be able to like handle three developers might be like including the Trump output maybe might be like plan. Continue my with and after gaining that and like unlocking the true potential of like the Gundam road like which like when the remove the person at the very top fears of like basically Blackbeard at that point would be the only thing that is at that point Blackbeard will be straight away able to like launch that ultimate war against like remove with the Blackbeard pirates and basically be able to like burn down the entire the world and then remove and basically steal and then for Blackbeard to steal the most like immortal the book as well and for like Blackbeard to like even turn immortal as well and at that point like for Blackbeard with all the thing at that point Blackbeard would be like assuming the squad of being like the king of like the world after like taking that throne. This would be like Blackbeard to like sit an Indian right now, even to the province of my India. And definitely about different like the same thing like might have totally even during like the God Valley incident like like might have done the same manipulation trick of like like bribing like people with like the offer of immortality, which might have what exactly what like Imo might have done with like a rock as well. So like I'm like Imo might have somehow then the Navy book when somehow might have managed to like unresolve some strong Navy book when somehow managed to like someone hopefully someone and bring a rock to like Marijo as well at some point in like the last like 8 my comprehension. So like at that point I was like Emo might not only offer rocks as well, with like the power of like immortality in exchange of for like rocks like basically betraying his like crew members like basically he's betraying his crew members and basically like Kaido, like Kingdom and Whitebeard would be like along the lines like I'm saying like you might have like try to like drive rocks and rocks might have straight away switch to bright might have been what had happened the name of the friend and then was like even in like the case of like Rock's from Rock's point of view, definitely I was different like since like Rock's name is like a Rock League, but like I was thinking like Rock's to have like the initial in its name like the different like definitely from Rock's point of view, like Rock's mindset might have been to like Rock League to betray like his crew members and basically like to like even if they get eliminated, like Rock might have been like totally Rock's mindset might have been that like to even through betrayal of his electoral numbers for Fox to like gain that immortality from remove. And then for Black Rocks to like Rocks might have been confident that he would be like still able to like find individuals on the levels of strength of that of like side of Sigma and Whitebeard. Eventually, if that Rocks eventually at some point in like the future Black Rocks attains like immortality might have been that Rocks' mindset. So like that way, like once again, created to eventually like to at first attain immortality and to like live on and eventually create like uh another effect. And that way to like eventually bring back the rock fire and even stronger than before, like even stronger than when before that Big Mom Shadow as well as Whitebeard might have been like Rock's plan. So like I'm going like for eventually to have like the turn of like the to create like to like restore and bring back the rock fire even stronger and using that to like bring down the and basically that you want like the world on and then to feel that throne and that way to be like the king of the world. Exactly like this world might have been exactly that the Rock's goal as well at that point. It's definitely my been famous. But even to the person like this will be like it might be exactly like a Rock's goal. And so like my person game right now that like I'm definitely only just thinking in my book person that like Wang-Zhi would be most likely a rock in the sky. That will be my book and definitely, I'm looking for like saying those who would be like totally aware of like basically the higher up in like the navy, the superiors in like the navy having like some sort of like a secret deal with like a rock. It's definitely my personal ambition. This might be the reason for like in the past in the sense of like when like Singapore was like taking class to like this like navy soldiers and informing them about like the history of like the Gone violence and the Emperor of Space and everything like back then like when Sengoku had talked about Rock, like Sengoku totally acting weird would be certainly most likely due to like Sengoku most likely knowing that basically Rock is still alive. It's definitely my good impression I like about like this like some sort of like secret dealing between like Rock and like the higher uh definitely my good and the fact that like Rock had basically even betrayed like the standing of the Rock that was due to that Rock totally betraying his own crew members. This information as well as part of like that secret deal between Rocks and like the higher ups in like the Navy. This detail as well, and the like information as well, and the Sengoku would be knowing stuff more on the yet like I'm the Sengoku won't be like knowing anything about like it's definitely my friend or like the immortality field or anything. It's definitely my friend. Like only thing that Sengoku would be knowing that like it was due to like some sort of like a secret deal between like the higher up. And basically like Rock is definitely my winter ambition. So like definitely my winter ambition that is city counters that gives me like Wang-Zhi would definitely beat Rocks and like I'm looking for like Rock would be definitely most likely immortal. It's definitely even to the present like I'm looking for Rock would definitely still have the selection mortality. Definitely my winter. Yet like Rock won't be invincible. Yet like I'm looking like he will be still immortal. Back then during like the God very instant like through lack of betrayal of like of lactic on Roman of lactics might have been what might have happened that might have that way gained immortality through definitely not the brain but like and definitely that will like the percent of might be like immortal and hence like I'm the like even to like the person like rock might be like living in like might have been like totally might be totally living in like the disguise of like the like in both in appearance as well as like in name like a rocks might have disguised themselves as like Wang-Chi might have been what might have happened. It's definitely one of the So definitely, and that might be to like not that And that conversation like Ross might have done that made that there's a long time back, and it might have been especially to not have like an enraged like kind of Whitebeard as well as Big Mom like chasing after Ross to like take to eliminate Ross and take Ross to like to get revenge in that way. It's like the scenario that I'm looking. So like Ross might be like while Ross thinks like immortality, Ross most likely to like described as Wang-Zhi might be like stealthy and patiently waiting and taking his time trying to like build up the ultimate fire crew so that way for like a rock to like make the bring back the return of like the rock fire through a new set of crew members to be like a rock plan. It's the beginning of the so like everything it might have been stealthy and yet like rock might have had the, might have found like the island of full alert like basically it used to be like the base of like the rock where at one point in existence and all like that island might have been who might have felt too precious for rocks to like leave and this might be the reason for like Wanty like being like the solar of like the Banksy being like the roller of like full electric before like Blackbeard became like the roller full electric, especially my going to be unquestioned right now. Basically, a consumer question that after like what might have happened after like the God Valley incident might have been like might have kept Timo's word and might have gave like the power of immortality to like Rock and that way Rock might have not only turned immortal but like I was doing like since then like I was bringing like after since then back then after like the God Valley incident like Rock might have not aged not even a single day. Certainly my book Rock aged uh, the age in which like Rock was back during like the God violation. So like even to the present, like Rox will be at that very same age and like the purpose of immortality. Certainly my Gunther impression. So like my Gunther impression that like the age factor of like the Rox, which like even to the present like Rox will be at the very same age as like he was back during like the God Valley incident might be like that one main factor in basically like Rox will be replaced that Banksy like basically like it's the fact that like Blackbeard even after gaining like the power of Whitebeard as well that way like Blackbeard is enough so after like in the two the power as well as like having this like new set of crew members who are like free from evil down even with like such a strong army of like Blackbeard still Blackbeard struggling during like the RockyPort incident against like Wang-Zhi would be especially due to that and would be especially due to like this main factor, especially necessary and necessary questions that like the same would be the case in the case of like the elders as well as in the case of Unity as well. Because like I understand like so the original program comes to play like the elders might actually be like the sons like Unity of like Inu. Yet like I'm looking like it might have been only once like the sons of Inu might have grew up and reached that old age that Ambedkar like Timo might have finally decided to like basically offer immortality to like her son and that way like the elders might have gained immortality and might have stopped aging from that old age. Especially what might happen to the meaning of the Zunisha. And for like Zunisha as well, like that Zunisha looking extremely old as well because due to like it might have been like Zunisha might have reached that old age and might have been like almost might be like a situation where like Gunja might have had like not much time left to live. Might have been the point where Dunisha might have been given immortality by Primo as well. It's definitely my confidence, and that might be the precise reason for like Dunisha even by looking so old like basically still then still being able to like survive all the way back from like the white century even to like the present is definitely my personal theory and